All right, and we're live. What's up, guys? Hartman here. We got true ball knower with us today. A guy I probably watch more of his content than anyone else. BBG, and I know a lot of people say that he doesn't have player takes, but I went back kind of through the archives, and I found out BBG he actually has a lot of player takes, and a lot of them are right. He's given us free alpha nearly every day on his stream. I figured I'd show you guys just a couple of his best takes from last year.
Jaden Daniels at pick 119. I mean, welcome to generational wealth for free. What are we doing? Oh my God, bro. Yeah, it is Chase Brown over Zach Moss, and it's not funny. It's incredible that we can get this profile this early or this late in the draft, I should say. I don't know. I think people should be more excited about like Brian Thomas specifically. Really, Bucky Irving is like just a good pick in general, I feel like. Powers is never going to be cheaper than this for the next decade, barring a tragic injury to him. Okay, I need you guys to know that. That's so good. Wow.
I was asking you the other night in your stream, like your best takes and stuff, just because I was trying to figure out. I'm like, who do I need to go search up the clips for?
Yeah, no,
Bowers,
dude,
obviously.
I think you nailed it there. That's funny. It was such a mix of like the drinking streams and like my normal streams. So you can tell when I've had like 5 Modelos. But yeah, oh man, that was epic.
Yeah, that's when like the real takes come out. But
yeah,
right. Again, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on stream with me. Like, pretty hyped to get to do a draft with you. Obviously, been in a lot of the same lobbies with you, but to actually get to do one together will be pretty cool.
Dude, yeah, of course, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure like I remember everyone from last year, like even Thad, who's the first person to comment right now, is like you, Thad, Who Hames, A-Rod, there's a bunch of people that by the end just seemed like everyday regulars, which was so fun to see. So thank you, and honestly everyone, for making last year so fun.
Oh yeah, no, I mean the BBG community, it's always a good time to be like part of that, a lot of ball knowers and stuff to talk with in the chat.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and like you said, Thad, the first guy here, on real time hashtag I know ball. Oh yeah, no one knows more ball than Thad. I mean, BBG is a ball knower, but Thad, he's up there, true elite.
100%, dude. Thad, if I ever do a 24-hour stream, I'll only do it if you promise that you come on for a draft.
There you go. Yeah. Thad would probably be the 101 guest from the chat, just to get his takes live in person. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. Well, you've been streaming with Fantasy Football Garage quite a bit. I see that. And then you've just been streaming like every day, basically, right? I feel like you haven't missed a beat, really.
Yeah, I'm doing a little bit less in the week, but like, yeah, luckily I've been on a couple other people's channels. So makes it like, I don't know. Yeah, it's been pretty good. I haven't streamed like a ton on my channel, but I've been on decent amount of channels. So trying to, and just getting more consistent, kind of getting more in the flow of it. I feel like after I've done a few, it feels definitely like way easier, way more natural now.
Yeah. No, I remember tuning in one time. I was like just at the gym, and I remember tuning in and what you were drafting, but that's I liked how you were talking through the picks. You seemed like a natural to me. It seemed good. So
thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no worries,
man. I did kind of want to ask you, like, because I mean, I'm sure you've kind of talked about it before, but I was just curious, like, what made you decide to start streaming when you did, like, last year and everything? Like, was there any reason or?
Well, no, I mean, I've always kind of done like YouTube type stuff, and I've streamed before, like with weird stuff. Like I've kind of stopped and started that like at several different times in my life, actually. Like, I don't know. Yeah, just always like I remember when I was like 17, I started like a fitness channel like on YouTube that I never really like. We did like maybe 20 videos and I kind of stopped. And then um I've made like a surf channel where I've done like maybe like 15 to 20 edits, and that gets hard to do. I still want to do that one, but anyways, and then I've streamed like Halo before actually, like when streaming was a little bit more accessible, like in the Twitch days, maybe like 2018 or something. I can't remember if that was before college or not, but so yeah, I've just like always liked YouTube and streaming and stuff, honestly, for a long time. So it's kind of just, I was just into best ball at the time. And I felt like that was such an easy way to stream something. Like it's so easy to do. Like the barrier to entry to start streaming is very minimal. So, yeah, it was just kind of something I was into and I just like doing basically. If I was still like gaming heavily, I'd probably be streaming gaming, to be honest. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and like kind of like you said too, like just with the best ball, it's so much like easier because you don't need like a crazy setup or anything to be able to stream it. Where like I know with the gaming, if you don't have the latest and greatest or like it can be kind of like laggy or probably kind of hard to stream it, right? Like decent quality and
Probably.
stuff.
Yeah. I don't even remember. I remember it came out pretty good. I was on Twitch. I remember I think it was like HD and everything seemed okay, but I don't know. Even still, it I'm just not as good as I once was, and I just refuse to like put out anything like that. So I don't know. Even if the quality wasn't good, I would just let the gameplay speak for itself and I'd figure it out from there. That's kind of what I did with best ball too. My streams in the beginning were just like, I mean, there's no thumbnail, there's no nothing. It's just like I'm just gonna win this. I was gonna be like kind of like the chess Liam, you know, it's kind of like the goal, like just win it, and then you don't even have to try basically with anything else, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the real goal. At the end of the day, you just take down a big tourney, and then you're just set. Then you don't have to worry about anything anymore. You just
Exactly.
perma have an audience. Yeah.
Perma have an audience. You have money in the bank if you want to like put capital into your YouTube channel, like get edits, get an editor, whatever. You know, you could do a bunch of stuff with the. It's like pretty sick if you take down a tournament and you're a streamer.
Yeah.
So
Even oh, and let me catch up with the chat real quick.
yes, sir.
But WFR Omega, we out you. Hey, thanks for stopping by, brother. Green Bean, hey, what's up, brother? Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's really cool with the best ball streaming too. It's just like, because like you really can have different opinions and stuff, and
Yeah,
obviously we don't know what's right, but people can give completely different opinions, and you can like both have valid viewpoints on like why you believe
totally.
your way or why they believe their way. So I think that's like what makes it so cool too is I don't know, like you can have such differing opinions and they can both be valid for like valid reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and just even more like just say like how they drop like a mini Schnauzer 3 and like a mini Schnauzer 4 each year. Just say those are 10,000 entries and there's 15K up top, like in both of them. One person can win that contest with like 0 RB, the other person can win with 5 quarterbacks. Like it's theoretically the same contest, but you can win 2 different ways. So there's really no like I mean, I feel there are definitely wrong ways to do this potentially, but there's multiple ways to win. And that's why it's like, of course, you just want to like stay open when you're drafting. Like if you get value, it's like, I didn't know I was going to take 3 running backs on this team in the first 6 rounds, but I guess I am. And then, you know, kind of go from there or whatever. But
Yeah, and
multiple
I
ways
would
to
say
win. Yeah. Sorry.
oh yeah, definitely. And like I would say too with me, like I kind of view it that way too, where I'm pretty open to guys, like especially if I get values on them. I would say maybe I believe in my fades a little bit more than my like stands this early. But even
I
then,
like
like even
that.
the guy I'm heavily fading, if he falls a little bit, like I'm willing to click guys that I don't click often. Like a common one for me to fade, like this year, for example, would be like JSN. But if I can get him on like that 3-4 turn, I'm
Yeah.
pretty open to just scooping that value because I don't want to have 0-0. I just want to be lower than normal. In the
Yeah.
stands, like it
Right.
feels a lot easier for those to kind of fall apart where like a fade, so much has to go right that like it doesn't seem like the situation can change as much.
Yeah. No, I like that. I definitely feel more comfortable full fading players than I do like going all in on one guy. Just too much variance in football. I don't know. I am compelled, like when the more I listen to like Jacob Sanderson talk about his stuff, like he's over on ship or ADP chasing, obviously, and he was like on Coach Speak. They're doing a draft, just talking about like how comfortable he is because of the percentages to even make the final and stuff. And I kind of get that argument, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
he did make.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just like, it only takes one. So like, I don't know. It's like I don't know. He would be more open to like, I'm going to take 0 JSN. And I think that's dumb to even take him when he falls, 3 picks past an ADP. Like he'd just be like, I just don't care. I'm just going to go get Travis Hunter, whatever, like whatever his guy is in that range instead. And he says, I just think, I don't know. I think that one team could be the one. I don't know. Anyways.
I kind of view it closer to you, but like he did, like I was listening to that too, and he did make like a good point of like if I have my guy I have such a strong conviction in, I want to have as many possible shots at that guy being on the finals team as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of fall more in line with like what you're saying, where like it's because it's such a massive portfolio, we're not doing 10 teams or 20 teams. Where
Right.
if a guy falls and I can scoop value, like even if it's a guy I don't like, I'm gonna scoop the value, especially in the earlier rounds. Just because, like
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
said, it's only one.
Yeah, like past round 10, you start getting to some 30% guys. I think that's probably a good thing to do, honestly. Like have some conviction about guys that are just good picks down there. But yeah, in the early rounds, it's like, I don't know. I could be just say, for example, like I'm really into, I don't know, I like a lot of guys in the 4th, but I'm really into Travis Hunter as well. But I was looking at JSN and Hunter or whatever, I can just see how JSN scores as much as Travis Hunter, but maybe down in the later rounds, I have just more conviction that I'm like, this player is definitely misvalued compared to who goes around him, kind of a thing.
Right. Well, and I think too, because in the early rounds, like, okay, like I guess I think you're not super big on JSN this year either, right?
No, I've been more open to him as of late. Like, I don't know. I like him more than Mike Evans. I'll say that much. I think that is my cutoff line.
Okay, that seems pretty fair. But like,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say with him, like, he'll get enough volume, and I think all those guys in that range will. Where if they get like lucky with touchdowns, they could all hit and pay off or beat ADP. Where those later guys, I feel like when you don't have the conviction in them, it's harder to see them having the path to like really beating the ADP. Or like if you do have conviction in a guy, it's a lot easier to see the path. Where I think early they all get enough opportunity that they all realistically could beat that ADP. So it doesn't feel as good like full fading if you're getting a value on a guy, maybe.
Yeah, right. Like Derrick Henry will even fall to points where I'm willing to take him. He's like one of my big, like, I am not very interested in you, but he falls to a range where I'm like, all right, Derrick Henry or Bucky Irving. I'm like, I guess I'll just take Derrick Henry. I don't know, but that's only happened maybe like once or twice.
Yeah, I'm pretty much right there with you on Henry. I'm at 2.8% on him, but it's just so hard to buy in, especially when he doesn't pass catch at his age. Like it's hard to see him really beating the ADP. I could see him paying off, but to see him really beat it and really crush you when he's going that high, it just seems so hard to take him over like a Lad McConkey, a Bauer, something like that. Even A Chain, like the upside of A Chain, it's really hard to take Henry over him for me.
Yeah. I just find running backs later so much more interesting. Like, James, I don't know. I always go back to James Conner in the 6th. And I'm like, if James Conner stays healthy the whole time, he might score as many points as Derrick Henry. Like, they were probably, Henry had a shitload of touchdowns last year, so probably not. But they were probably within 50 points, even on like a legendary Derrick Henry year, 326. Maybe not,
Yeah,
actually.
so,
I don't know. That's a shitload of points, but that's also a reason I kind of want to fade him. Like, that is the ceiling at 32 years old. Mixon missed some games, but what about James Conner? I think he played all 17.
Oh yeah. Sorry, it jumped a little. 230.
Yeah, no, you can see the difference in the touchdowns for sure. But that's also why it's like, man, I don't know. That's a high price for a guy that's he needs that many touchdowns to do everything. So
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is like obviously I think we expect Henry to be a big touchdown scorer. He kind of always has, but just that amount, and just at his age, right? I mean, he's going to be
and two
32
receiving
this
touchdowns.
season.
He's never had a receiving touchdown before. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
I
no,
don't
that's totally fair. And just 1921 on 325 carries.
yeah.
Like it is an efficient offense, and I do understand like how he can be so efficient, but it just doesn't seem likely that yeah, it's basically like the argument of he can't run from father time forever, right? And he doesn't catch passes really. So it just doesn't seem like a good bet as high as he goes.
It just
I
he hit the app like the tippy top last year, 1900 and then 18 total touchdowns.
yeah.
It's gonna be hard. It's just gonna be hard to do that again, even on the Ravens offense. I don't know. That's just a really high bar, kind of going around his ceiling, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I'd like the ceiling of if you wanted to give me a running back instead, like honestly, H and I'd like a little bit more.
Yeah.
Probably even JT to be honest too, especially with Richardson looking like he's not playing.
Yeah,
That
no,
one's close. That
I
one's
definitely agree
close.
with that.
That one's close.
Well,
I think Daniel Jones would throw him the ball more. Like those last 2 years are with Richardson intending to be the quarterback. I think even Barkley had some pretty good receiving years on the Giants with Daniel Jones.
oh yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah, he has 40 catch, 50 catch years with Daniel Jones.
yeah.
So I
So
mean, yeah, I think Daniel Jones is a lot more likely to check it down than AR is. And I think with Jonathan Taylor too, like I feel like he's one of the last true like workhorses in the NFL where when he's healthy, he's getting 90% plus of snaps.
yeah,
And
right.
I don't feel like you can say that about many guys. I mean, not even Henry, to be honest,
Well,
right?
no, because
He
Henry is a
splits more
game script
time.
too. If they're not winning, Henry's like not even really playing that much. But we do expect the Ravens to obviously be a good team, winning most of the time. But I think Taylor's in on every situation, running downs, passing downs, just a little bit different. They definitely played Justice Hill quite a bit on the passing downs last year for the Ravens, at least.
Yeah, and I
And
think
they got
too,
the
like on
missile,
the
man. I mean,
2 minute drill.
come on, you gotta
Yeah.
take the missile. Now, it's not
Oh
even
yeah.
so much like believing and fading Derrick Henry as it is like just replaceable running back picks down the board, running back points at least. Like those wide receivers, that Bowers at tight end. Just think you got to get these elite guys at the wide receiver position. I honestly think we might have gone too far with what I'm seeing with running backs this year. I just sometimes even I forget myself. You have to start, you got to start 3 receivers like each week. It's just like, and it's like, you can tell yourself a story about how like Josh Downs is your 4th wide receiver is fun, but is it, like, isn't like Xavier Worthy as your wide receiver 4 like feel a lot better, And then I'm still getting Trevion Henderson, James Conner in the next 2 rounds or whatever. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, just not does Stephon Diggs really feel that good? I don't know, man. It's 32 coming off an ACL. Like these later, the receivers just dry up quick. And I really like the receivers down until about, I think Waddle starts getting sketchy. Like that's the sketchy range, like right after Pickens. You kind of enter a bunch of question marks with a lot of guys. So it's kind of nice having just like 4 straight wide receivers this year.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I definitely feel pretty similar on that. I would say I lean towards like it kind of depends on draft slot, but I probably
Yeah,
lean towards like 0 RB or hero RB the most, like most commonly.
I can see
But
that.
like you said, that 5-6 range, especially like on the back half,
Yeah.
that 5-6 range feels so good at running back. You got like Ken Walker, Kamara, James Conner, even like Chuba Hubbard,
Yeah.
Harvey's falling
Chuba's a
back there if you like
smash. I like
him.
Henderson quite a bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Henderson.
Yeah, I
Well,
just
and
think there's a lot of interesting options there.
when I know, like obviously, I know you're a pretty big Sean Siegel fan, and like
Mhm.
I'm kind of the same way. Like I don't know if you saw it, but like the podcast he did maybe like a week ago or so, I think it was him and Gretch, just where he's talking about like how much he loves all these rookie running backs and how like maybe we're kind of forgetting how hyped up this class was as a whole. You got like the Jarquez Hunters and
Yeah,
stuff going so late, like those type of
totally.
guys.
Totally.
Like it makes me feel a little bit better about the whole zero or hero RB thing and kind of loading up a little bit heavier on those guys than I maybe was like when BBM first opened. I'm like, oh,
Yep.
their spots weren't great or whatever, but it's like if they're talented, they have a chance to really get a workload in those offenses.
I completely agree. Yeah, got to remember how talented this class was. I love the Jarquez Hunters. I even took 18th round. I was finishing a sprint draft today, and I took Devin Neal because I was just like Kendra or Devin Neal, and I just thought about like the depth of the class, and I know he's a late pick, but I'm like, it's a really good running back class, and we all like Devin Neal's talent. Like a lot of the film bros liked him. Obviously, like Davis Maddock was touting him quite a bit this offseason, and didn't get necessarily the draft capital we want, but it was enough for me to break the tie towards him in that very specific moment. Obviously, if I hear good things about Kendra or whatever, maybe I'll switch back. But I think at the current time, yeah, I'm more comfortable with going with Neil and the guys that are just in this draft class. I even draft Samson quite a bit. I see him as the running back too for Cleveland. Could also work in on passing downs, kind of like a Kareem Hunt to a Nick Chubb kind of role in the Stefanski system. Like, and he's really athletic and explosive. And, like Siegel loves him, like from a talent perspective. Even like our boy PPR Tyler was a big, like Dylan Sampson bull in the big board. So he's just interesting. I know they have Judkins, and Judkins is also a part of this rookie class, but Sampson has like a different skill set down there. He's been really interesting. But yeah, there's like later guys that I'm feeling pretty comfortable with. Even Brashard Smith, like on the Chiefs. A lot of these guys are going to hit for zeros, but if you just have the right, say 3 of them combined on your team, and you enter into the finals and you have the Chuba Hubbard, Bucky Irving, and Chase Brown from last year kind of a thing. Like if you hit on those 3 guys, I know what I just said, those guys weren't rookies last year, but you could apply that to even kind of the same thing. Maybe add in some some second year guys on the team like this, like a Trey Benson, something. I don't know. These old guys got really lucky last year. And I just think,
Yeah.
I think they're just going to get banged up, man. They usually do. And last year was just kind of odd. So
Yeah,
I'm
no, I
willing to bet
definitely
against them.
agree with. Well, and I think too, like that made some of those later picks maybe not feel quite as good as like they would have in a normal year. Like the
Yeah,
ones that
that's
stick
true.
out to me are kind of like the Tyjae Spears and Tyrone Tracy's, for example, where they
Yeah.
didn't fully like go crazy smash, but Tyjae had that good run at the end, and Tracy was like pretty good all year, but for the price, really good.
Right.
Where
Yeah.
like in a year where maybe more top end talent goes down, they're kind of more like smashes or they really help near the end. But like last year, you still had your Buckies and Chubas, and those guys were mega smashes, right? But I wonder if like some of these later guys, they kind of got like devalued how big their impact was just because the position as a whole stayed so healthy.
Right. And then you add in like 7 top round 10 receivers going down, like just swings the perspective so much into like how valuable these running backs are. But maybe if those wide receivers don't get hurt either, like, and a lot of them miss time too. Like a lot of the big guys miss time. Like Evans missed a lot of time. Nico Collins missed a lot of time. So even the ones that didn't necessarily go down for the entire season, a lot of them missed a good amount of time last year, just kind of really chaotic. And that also makes the veteran running backs who stayed healthy look that much better. But yeah, I mean, just how Neil MP43 banked the second place, the Chihuahuas first running back was Chase Brown in the 9th round, like on a year where wide receivers did nothing, but because he had the right ones. And when you have the right ones, your team is just unstoppable. If you add in any backup running back who's starting in the playoffs, along with 5 wide receivers that have a high weekly ceiling. Like, he had Jamar Chase, T Higgins, Neighbors, Brian Thomas. Like that was an attainable lineup last year. It was not hard to get Jamar Chase. You could take Neighbors in the 2nd. T Higgins was a 3rd or a 4th round pick, usually a 4th. And you take Brian Thomas in like the 6th. All those guys have like very obvious, like explosive weak profiles to them. And you can still do that again this year and then still try to hit on late running backs like he did with a Chase Brown, a Bucky Irving, and a Tajay Spears, luckily for the playoff stretch that really boosted the team through. But that's just how it goes. And like, that's why like running back points are replaceable. Like Tajay Spears scored 27 points or whatever in week 16. And that was probably like one of the best one of the best running back scores on the week. Like, and obviously, you would never say that Tajay Spears is going to like outscore Derrick Henry, like when we're drafting in June 13th or whatever, but it just happens like that. But I'll tell you that, like, I don't know, like if Jerry Jeudy goes down, I just don't know if I love Cedric Tillman. Actually, maybe it's a bad example.
Not the best example.
Let me like pick a different one, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Like a backup wide receiver just is not going to come in and take over for how good of a receiver. Like Darius Slayton is not going to ball out if Malik Neighbors goes down. I'll tell you that right now. Like he's not going to get extra open because Neighbors is going down. Whereas when you're a backup running back, they just hand you the ball. Like you are guaranteed the points. It doesn't matter if you're good or bad. I mean, ideally we want a good one, but kind of get what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, and I 100% agree with that. I mean, I think that's like the common saying is like wide receiver is talent based, running back is opportunity based, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So with
okay,
that being said, let's take a receiver.
So we did finally fill a draft. Sorry it took so long. That was the 30-second can be kind of tough to fill sometimes. I think.
That's all right.
So is it
Lamb?
Lamb
Lamb
okay,
at 6. Yeah.
As you can see, I have 20% CD Lamb. That's kind of my like big first round stand this year. Oh, let me switch it to BBM though. So 12% BBM, so not as crazy, but I'm basically picking him over like pretty much any of the running backs and stuff. I do feel like too, it's a lot easier if you can get like Lamb, Jefferson, or obviously Chase, and then just get a running back in the second round if that's how you want to go.
The second round is interesting. I kind of got a guy that I want, and if he's not there, then kind of another guy that I'm interested in. But I guess we'll talk about when we get there. I don't know if anyone's in this draft. Biff Tannen's in here. It's a name I recognize.
Oh yeah, Biff Tannen. We got Al Boogie at 4.
Let's go. BBM
I didn't know
finalist.
badges actually. Yeah, that's true. BBM finalist. And let me catch up on the chat real quick. So Al Boogie, what contest? Thanks for stopping by, brother. Reflect the Sun, thanks for stopping by. Fantasy Football Garage, ayo. Hey, man, thanks for stopping by. There was kind of one interesting question, I guess. For Omega, they asked, are we undervaluing McBride and Bowers? They're the only tight ends that can break a slate, basically, now, if we're honest. I think in my opinion, Kittle also probably applies to that, but how do you feel about that? Are they being undervalued or you think fair, overpriced?
I do think that, man, I think I'm more into like the Bowers could break the slate idea than the McBride actually. But yes, I do agree with that. I'm very scared about not having 30% McBride when I could have had the opportunity to. But yeah, it's been a conundrum all year because all tight ends seem very fairly priced. Like I can talk myself into a lot of interesting tight ends at the price this year. But yeah, there is a world where Bowers is just like, holy shit, dude, this guy's outscored Brian Thomas this year, and he was at our tight end position. We weren't drafting him. We were drafting our wide receiver 2 or whatever instead of like the guy who finished wide receiver 8, but he fills your tight end position kind of a thing. Like you're never going to find that like later down the board. There's no tight end breakout that could be like that good. And that's kind of what he did last year. He had 1,200 yards, 4 touchdowns. He broke the rookie receiving record at the tight end position, and he's going to obviously get better and utilized even more next year in a better offense. So yeah, I could definitely see how Bowers is. I've been having a hard time. I have like 8% and I need to get that up. Honestly, I really do. But Yeah.
So I think I'm at like 12. In BBM I'm at 10, but I think overall I'm at like 12. I do have a really hard time with him over like uh I'll let this guy make a pick quick. Um I do have a really hard time with Bowers though over like Drake London and Lad.
Yeah, I'd be Lad.
So who are Lad
Yeah, 100%.
or okay. All
I
right,
didn't even
yeah.
think you'd fall back, so that's great.
I didn't think he would fall back either, to be honest.
That's a
Well,
pretty unique pairing, honestly. Lamb and Lad. That's
yeah,
sweet.
that actually feels pretty good getting those two together. I mean, I'm super high on both these guys. I
Hmm.
think they're probably my highest like overall in each round. Um, I do have a decent amount of Trey McBride. I'm real big on Rice too, but
Yeah.
Lamb and Ladd, like those are the two guys. I would say Ladd is the main reason I have a hard time getting more Bowers. He's like the
I,
main
I
guy
could
standing
I
in the
could see
way.
that. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I just worry like you're getting Lad basically at the tight end position, but on a worse offense is kind of how I look at Brock Bowers. So
No, it is
yeah.
true. And
Like he's
like,
gonna get 170 targets probably at tight end. Like it's kind of crazy. Like but Trey McBride's gonna get a lot too. I do worry that Harrison takes a jump and actually kind of suppresses McBride from going like full alpha dog like that. I don't think Genty really affects Bowers at all as far as like the receiving game or anything like that. So I don't know. I just
yeah,
expect the Raiders to be better and him to have the most targets on the team by far.
yeah, and I think too, like, kind of an underrated. Like people talk about it, but I think maybe people underrate a little, just like the Chip Kelly fast-paced offense and how much that could mean for like target volume as a whole and just pass
Totally.
attempts.
Don't you kind of remember like when Kelsey was doing his thing? They were like a fast paced offense and it would be like 8 yards to Kelsey, 8 yards to Kelsey. Like I felt like it was just over and over again. It's like 14 play drives of Kelsey getting, like six of the targets going down one drive. And I just feel like that's Bowers all day. Plus, you add in like way more athletic. Like he could catch the ball, hurdle a guy, he could burn a guy. Like you add in so much athleticism. Like it's kind of dumb. Honestly, I think I just talked myself back into it. But
Yeah.
we all know me. I'm on a week to week basis with how I feel.
Yeah, and I do wonder a little like, so I generally agree with you on, I know this is something you've said a lot, and I think a lot of people have, with the late tight ends feel really good. And I do agree with that, but I wonder if that can be a little bit of a trap that we fall into kind of like every year, where we're like, all these guys feel so great. And maybe there are one or two, there are like the Jonus and whatnot,
Right.
but it feels like a lot of times, a lot of them just kind of end up being middling or disappointing a little, where like Bowers or McBride, they could be like prime Kelsey Gronk
I
and they
would
could just
agree. Definitely.
separate.
I definitely take, like I said, I have my 8% Bowers. I'm definitely probably overweight McBride. And I know I'm way overweight Kittle. So I definitely still believe in the elite tight end. What do you want
Um,
to do? I don't mind. Tyreek Hill's a bring
I
back.
mean,
Or sorry, McLaurin's a bring back. Tyreek Hill is,
I would probably lean one of these two unless you think something else.
I kind of want to just do
Hill or
Tyreek Hill.
McLaurin. Okay, I'm
I'm
cool with
I
that.
just, he's fucking Tyreek Hill, man. Come on.
I
Like,
know. Well, and
I'm willing to die on that hill. No pun intended. Full pun intended,
yeah,
actually.
yeah, and like it is true where maybe he is a little less successful, but if they're fully healthy in Miami, like Tua's fully healthy, it's just hard to see him not beating this ADP.
Right.
I mean, 2 years ago, he was far and away the most efficient wide receiver in the NFL, and he's a speed guy, but he's not like crazy old. It's just the volume he gets. His red zone share last year was
Yeah.
like amongst the highest in the league still. And it's just if they're a little bit better as an offense, I think even just on touchdowns, like he
He
could
still
pay off
finished
his
as wide
ADP.
receiver 21 last year, too. Like, and it was a really bad year. I don't know where we just drafted him, but we might have just drafted him at like wide receiver 20 or 21, honestly. So it's like I'm kind of getting Tyreek Hill at after his like floor season with like typically you don't want to make excuses for the old guys. You kind of want to just let them die. That is definitely like a good thing. So I'm not gonna have a bunch of Tyreek Hill. I think but sometimes I do like just I can see how just even from a single game perspective, you can talk yourself into Tyreek Hill in the third round. I can definitely see how Tyreek could have a 35-point week in week 17 or something like that against the Bucks.
Oh,
Just something like that I talk myself into a little bit more. McLaurin ran hot on touchdowns. He's not showing up. I do love Jaden Daniels, but and then Mike Evans, I mean, granted, I know he's a big touchdown guy and everything, but he just seems like he's a little closer to the father time thing than Tyreek is.
yeah, and I do think his archetype maybe will hold up a little bit better, but he's dealt with so many injuries year over year. Tyreek Hill's been relatively healthy in his career. It was really just that wrist injury. And like I agree with like kind of what you were saying on Terry. Like the thing that worries me is he's been very similar year over year, except for 13 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And you look at his yardage, his catches, even his targets, like he's been extremely similar basically every year. And then he
Yeah.
just gets like 50% of the receiving touchdowns. They add Debo, who maybe he's fat and he's kind of washed, but in the red zone, he can be a real threat. Where I think that's kind of underrated, maybe.
What, for Evans or McLaurin?
Oh, I meant for McLaurin. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I agree
Just
with that.
adding in
And
that
it's
threat.
really fun to get Jaden Daniels, McLaurin stacked up. I'll say that much.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
So
What do you
what do you
like
like
here?
here?
I like
Uh,
Hunter very much
Hunter.
over these guys. If not,
Okay.
it would be Hampton or like Kittle probably.
No, we can go Hunter. I don't get a ton of Hunter. I think I'm pretty much like even on him. I have 7.3%. So he's a guy I'm not totally bought into just because I worry a little with like I worry just a little with T Law supporting two receivers going this high and just with his overall route participation. It's not so much his talent, it's just like opportunity share. I
Mhm.
don't know if it'll be there quite enough, but when it's someone who is just like a fully
I
special
think it will.
talent.
I think that's maybe where we differ because I would expect him to come out and probably get like 8 targets game one, honestly. I think he's like Garrett Wilson good. Like that would be like my archetype comp for him. And I think he's a hell of a lot better than Diami Brown. Like, like and then like
Oh
defense
yeah.
stuff, like they've kind of already like coach speak wise is like from what I understand so far is like he doesn't have time to learn defense right now because he's learning the offense. So it's second. I don't know. I
Yeah.
get it. It's second overall pick, but this is very low, like a very low percent chance. But I will say, I think there is a chance that he might just be better than Brian Thomas. Even I know people like might not want to hear that, but I think there's a small possibility of even that, and that's kind of interesting to me as well. But
Yeah.
I see the concern. We're building a high upside team here, Hart.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, zero RB start, 4 straight receivers. This is
Yes.
this is what I brought BBG on for.
Yes.
So so this is exactly what I wanted to build.
Perfect. This is
Um
what I do when people aren't looking. When you guys come on, I have to like draft my running backs and stuff so I don't get criticized too much. But this is what I do in the shadows for sure.
yeah. Yeah, and like I do just to go back a little bit on your point, like I definitely agree his talent level it is so high that he could be the wide receiver one on that team by the end of the year. And even if he's not, he could just be like a big play machine where he gives you those giant spikes where maybe he is a little less consistent than like,
I'm also
a
really
different
open to
guy.
Lawrence taking like a big jump just because of coaching changes. Like I think Peterson was awful. I think also he's dealt with a bunch of like super unfortunate injury stuff with like concussions and like people rolling up on his ankles stuff. This is probably where I'd take a running back. I
Okay.
don't mind like Mixon's a bring back week 17 if you want to galaxy brand that. If you really like Waddle and you want to do a fifth, I don't mind. We do have double Miami.
Um, yeah, I just didn't know if you were thinking that, but if you're thinking running back, I'm cool with that. You want to go Mixon or
Do you
who do
like
you
Chuba
like?
more? You can do Chuba.
I probably like, or do
I'd
you
be
want Chuba?
Nah, let's
Mixon?
go Mixon. Let's go Mixon.
Okay. I
That's
lean
fine.
Mixon overall.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a little more faith in him probably than Chuba. Chuba's a guy I have a little bit of a hard time buying in on. I'm okay with him. Like I get he was efficient. He should be pretty good. Offense should be better, but I just have a little bit harder time buying in on him than a guy we've kind of seen it for multiple years already.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like every season of Mixon's career, honestly, he's been good. Like, not good, like
Not
in
efficient.
efficiency, but he's
Yeah.
been fantasy point scoring wise, he's been great. So I'm willing to do it.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do it. I know they signed Chubb. That's honestly not a concern to me whatsoever. So I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with Chubb, it could be only like a small concern, maybe in like very short yardage, like goal line. Like he might shark a couple where if it was just like Woody Marks, like I don't think he was a threat for that at all. But but yeah, I don't really see him as much of a threat to the overall like workload or volume or anything like that. Just maybe a little bit of short yardage work, but overall that shouldn't matter a ton.
No, no. But no, I like, and also just that week 17. I mean, that's just a part of the game we play. Like, I think it's kind of a flat tier of running backs there. I could see any one of them being the guy that you needed this year between Kenneth Walker, Chuba, Harvey. I'll even throw Kamara in there. So I kind of just break the tie to what I already have kind of built around this team, and I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope that Mixon is what you need for that Lad McConkey game, because I do like that game quite a bit. Also, I feel like Mixon would be, I don't know. I think Mixon, what was I going to say? Basically, as far as, oh yeah, like I don't want to take the backup running back on Houston really. So that's also why I'm like a little bit more interested in Mixon, because I don't want to fade the Texans backfield, but I think my bet would just be to take Mixon instead of like being interested in Chubb or Woody Marks down lower.
That's definitely a good point. Like a team that you want pieces of, but you're not interested in the backups. That is a good point where you'd want to go more in on him.
Yeah.
Where like a Chuba, maybe you're more open to like some of those backups.
Yeah, like I'm more
or,
open
like,
to Dowdle, like, to being potentially the guy that you need because what's his name goes down. Whereas okay, yeah, I'm Henderson probably, or Olave. I like
Henderson
quite a bit. You like
okay.
Godwin?
Well, I was just saying because we had Miami. I'm not like super huge on them.
No, we got a better buck to take later. Let's go. Let's go Henderson.
Olave. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty big on Henderson, and I don't have enough of him yet, so that feels.
I love opening up Drake May too, and I was kind of telling Neil this the other night when I was streaming with him. It's kind of nice to not have to guess on the Patriots wide receivers, and you can take Henderson, you could take Henry in May. I think me taking so much, like Drake May would have been fine last year. I don't know how he actually really did in the playoffs or anything, but if I just didn't take so much damn Polk and Baker on those teams, like those teams could have been fun if I just would have taken like just Drake May and like, Ramondre or Hunter Henry or whatever. Like didn't need to try to guess on the Patriots wide receiver room again.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And like I think that Kyle Williams too, like I think we're all big fans of his talent, or at least for the most part. I think the community kind of is as a whole. Yeah. But I do think maybe his price has gotten a little bit ahead of itself. Where like
honestly, it totally has. I got so sold. I don't even remember who was talking about that. I think maybe it's Pete wrote about it,
or
maybe it's Schneid. No, I just mean like who pointed this out that like out of all the day 2 wide receivers, he is the highest by far. It's like the Patriots offense, once again, like this offense hasn't been good. They're not expected. They added 1 O-lineman. Do we remember how bad that O-line was last year? Like I'm optimistic for the Patriots as well in certain aspects, but you factor in other teams that took day 2 receivers like the Broncos, Ty Felton, Savion Williams. Like there's so many, there's like dudes that they're going undrafted on good teams that were day 2 wide receivers, but yet we're all like so bullish on like the guy the Patriots took for some reason. It's kind of weird.
Well, it's because there's no one there who can take over the role.
It's like
right?
It's an opportunity like assessment thing. I get that. And it does feel like an upside swing, because if Josh Allen I just Freudian slipped it. If Drake May is the next Josh Allen or whatever,
But I mean,
get why.
Josh
but it's
Allen, how to his
interesting.
receivers? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, I'm done talking. I haven't heard much about Kyle Williams as far as like camp goes and stuff. I hear if he's lighting it up and he's the one and stuff, like sure, I'll do it. But
Well, I was just gonna say, like Josh Allen, how good does it feel to get his receivers most of the time? I
true, yeah.
mean, the real Josh,
Yeah,
like he just kind of spreads it around, runs enough. Like,
that's fair. Yeah. It's kind of why you just want the running back and the tight end with him.
um,
Debo's a big fall.
that's
I'm kind of down to scoop fat Debo price.
yeah. I mean, we have Lamb too, so that feels
Yeah,
pretty good, I think.
I think it does too, actually. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't have much Debo either, but on a Lamb team at a 10 spot fall, I mean, if you're
Yeah,
ever gonna take them, right?
totally.
And and Debo, he just kind of has the out of playing on such a good offense that what if he gets 10, 12 touchdowns, right? I mean,
Sure.
it's
Ex-
not
exactly.
crazy.
No,
Yeah,
it's
like
really not that crazy. I think he can still be a tackle breaker. Like he's never really got there, like on his route running or anything like that. And I don't expect him to be used like that for the Commanders. I expect him to be kind of used like Zach Ertz a little bit, like get him the ball quick, break some tackles, do his Debo thing. So I
yeah,
definitely like it, especially with our first round pick bring back. And I like Dak is probably one of my favorite price quarterbacks this year. If anything, we should probably pay attention to what the Pickens drafter is doing because he's probably my
oh yeah.
priority like draft pick
Uh
once I have this start.
so the Pickens drafter is Al Boogie.
Al
Uh
Boogie. Let's just chill out there, man. Let's chill out.
so
Oh, is he gonna take him at pick 100? That's not. Oh, it's
I
fine. If
mean
he has to, it's good. We got Herbert. We got Herbert instead. We got other options.
we'll pass on Dak at 115 for sure. So like I think he could push him, like definitely. Uh that'll definitely work out. We're not gonna take him in the next 3 rounds at all. So he could definitely push him if he wants.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, might be a little tough.
that's all right.
But yeah, but yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good with how this team's coming together where like we have kind of the older vet, like the projectable volume, right? Kind of like everyone's saying, like you get your 5-6 projectable volume guy, huge rookie upside swing. And then we got Debo, but he's our fifth receiver. So we have kind of like a loaded receiver room, giant upside swings. Like I feel like, this is a pretty good way to build. Like I really like building like this, especially getting a running back in that 5-6 range. That always feels really good on a build.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like
Um,
Buka went. I was definitely interested in Nick Buka.
oh yeah. Yeah, no, earlier when you were saying a better Bucks receiver,
Yeah, yeah.
that was a so
This is
I,
tough.
I'm probably
Yeah,
like
Downs looks great. Yeah, the Jordan Mason, B Rob, another Washington piece could correlate it. I don't hate that.
I
I'm
don't hate
hoping to
that
B
either.
Rob having a decent season. I don't
Do you
know.
have a strong lean here?
Let's go
So
Downs actually. Yeah, let's go Downs. We already have Jacksonville
Downs.
too. Yeah, I'm down. We're just doing it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point too. I didn't totally think about that, but yeah, we
Yeah,
have that correlated. Running backs feel good enough where like getting B Rob or Mason would have felt fine, but we didn't like
yeah.
totally need them there.
I will say
Um,
I've like definitely cooled a little bit, and this just from my own portfolio. I saw you didn't have as much Mason as I do. I have like 30% Mason, so having to take him in the eighth now is kind of just not as interested. It felt a lot better in like the early 10th or whatever, the ninth. Um, just kind of hard there. Because
well,
if Aaron Jones is healthy, like week 17 or something, like, I do worry about that. He's still probably low. Like if Aaron Jones is healthy, probably like a low value kind of like he probably has like a floor play, but probably not like a big ceiling play for that game or whatever.
yeah, I think with Mason, it's just a lack of pass catching. They do have a really good O line, and he should be the goal line back, so he still has upside. But if Jones is healthy, I think he's going to be more in on like pass catching down, so it will be a little tough. Jones is older; he's been hurt a lot though, so like I like Mason. I think it did show maybe a little underweight, but that's BBM only. I
Yeah.
think in general, I am closer to like 11-12% maybe. So not crazy, but I am a little overweight on him.
Yeah.
Um,
That's fair.
I just think his pass catching is maybe what limits him a little. But he is
Definitely.
explosive. They have a good O line, should be a good offense. So I'm definitely in
I'm
on him
just it's more of
overall.
like a Josh Downs thing for me too. That he is
Yeah.
very undervalued talent wise. He's probably top 24 in the league for me, like talent wise. I would think honestly, he's very good in my opinion. It's can that Colts offense produce for fantasy, but I'll take the discount on it because the talent is very good. And then Daniel Jones looking like he probably adds an extra 6 to 7 pass attempts a game over Richardson, something like that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, and
Josh
like,
Downs just too good.
well, like, I agree with that too. Where I think Danny Dimes being the likely starter, it definitely makes it feel way better for Downs because you look at him last year with like Flacco, and he was killing it when he added like a decent short area passer.
Wow, Jaden.
Um, yeah,
Is
so
Dak there? Did he go?
I think he is still there.
Oh, cool. We don't need to take him here. We don't need to take him here. But
Okay,
okay. What about let's take Travis Etienne here. He should be coming up in ADP unless he's already gone.
Travis Etienne.
Yeah,
Okay,
take him.
so are
Yeah,
you are you an
unfortunately
Etienne over Tootin?
I'm hearing. Well, I got a text from NP today, basically just what was it? What was it? LaQuint Allen running ahead of Bashal Tootin per Silva. So
Yeah,
that's interesting. Like I don't like that. That's
yeah,
not great. So yeah, I will adjust accordingly as I get news here. And I'm very interested in getting the Jaguars running back correct. I think that is like a big key to the season is getting that guy right. So yeah, I'll go back to ETN here. I will say I do like Bigsby as well. Of course, you know me. I had to play the highlight clips last night. I was watching Bigsby highlights. I like you, man. Guy looks solid. Guy looks solid out there. He looked explosive on some plays, and so I was like, man, maybe Bigsby at pick 150. I need to be more cognizant of. But regardless, anything about like Quinn Allen playing over Tootin right now should probably make the two starters from last year be a little bit more interesting. So
yeah. That's pretty fair. And like, I'm also pretty big on. So I was big on Tootin early, but I've been mixing in a lot more ETN. I have been getting a lot more Tank though, probably overall
mhm,
lately, like in the 150s to 160. It just feels
right.
so cheap that with it being so murky, I'd probably bet on him the most. But I've been a lot more open to ETN lately with like, Tootin's reports haven't really he didn't come out running, like he didn't really start camp too
Yeah, you
great,
hear about the
fumbled the first
fumble
day.
and yeah,
Yeah.
it's not what going where I want it to. The athletic profile is still very exciting. That will not change the entire offseason, but just need like either to get a better price for it. Like if it's just like a pure gamble, like if it's like, oh, he's not even the starter, but it's like an 18th round, or it's like not, he's like, he's running with the second team, third team, or whatever. It's like, all right, well, 18th round Tootin, I'll still mix that in because of how explosive he could be if he got to play. But yeah, until then, I just can't even take him at this price until I hear something change. Quarterbacks are going, but
Yeah.
they're not Dak. Come on, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, are we gonna make it? I mean, we should. Well, no one else has a stack. We already know that. This guy has Jaden. This guy already has Purdy. He got Purdy double stacked, so it seems like he kind of knows what he's doing.
Yeah, we should be
Um,
good.
yeah, should be good. Um, well, we'll see.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Ooh,
um,
Burden. God, that's so
yeah,
tempting, but yeah, just can't
I have,
can't do it.
and I in my portfolio, I got quite a bit of burden already.
Yeah, we'll be
I'm
okay. If he's good, we're already good.
yeah, I'm like right there with you on burden though. Like I I just think so Dak easily,
Yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah, easy.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but like Burden, it just seems like his early season production will be kind of it might be pretty rough with all that talent, but even then
Yeah,
he might get on the field and just Ben Johnson has been so good at getting guys in space and that's like Burden's whole thing when he has the ball in his hands, right? Like
yeah.
just being in space with the ball in his hands, he is like he's special at that.
Right.
And
we're still so here's my best. This was like a gym thought I had today, I believe, but we're still super early in June. So obviously we hope that it just turns around and where it's just like, oh yeah, he's practicing with the team as normal, which I believe. I know there's negative coach speak, but if I remember reading the last update, it said that he will be ready for camp that started this week or whatever. So I'm pretty sure he's just practicing as normal, which is great. Obviously he missed optional or OTAs or whatever. So that, and then you got the negative coach speak. So it's not great. However, if he just stays healthy from here on out, smash of a value. Regardless, if we still get some weird coach speak even coming into the season, I think I would look at it like the year that JMO was kind of suspended for the first 6 games. He kind of didn't do shit even when he came back, but towards the end of the season, he was like really getting pretty spicy out there. So I could look at it something like that as well, where I still would believe in like a late season thing with him. But that's kind of my comparison because he kind of reminds me of like Ben Johnson's Jamison William in a way.
Well, and just at this price too, like, on this team, obviously we want heavy at receiver, but even on most teams, he'd be your wide receiver 6 probably.
Right.
Like, to have that as a late season hammer, that feels great. Wow, I was able to get that.
I think I want Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, yeah. I like that call. Because
the
BTJ
Brian Thomas drafter is probably going to take him.
Yeah. Oh, and I don't know if you saw Al Boogie's comment that the 12 shot blew up his team.
I saw that. Yeah, that was weird.
So 3 straight tight ends, Hawk, Ingram, Jonnu. I mean, he has BTJ, Nico, and Jacoby, so that's it at receiver. So kind of an interesting build there.
2 out of 11 advanced. Let's go.
Yeah, there we go. This team, they're pretty big on getting their guys.
Totally. Yeah,
Kyle
that's true.
Williams at 101, Xavier Legette at 125.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do we have a
some
tight end yet?
moves.
No, we don't. Okay.
No, we don't have tight end yet.
Yeah. But I think we're lining up perfect. Honestly, if Ferguson fell back, I'd probably just go there. Sometimes I try to push it, but I don't know. I do think Ferg and like Goddard specifically, or after them, it's a pretty big tier down. But also, dude, Strange is like a very he's getting positive coach speak, and he's just like good. So,
yeah, I'm pretty big on Strange too. Like I said earlier, this is just BBM, but like I guess I can actually just switch it back to total now. But I'm decently high on him too. I have like 12%. But yeah, I'm pretty big on Strange, pretty big on Ferguson. And like you said, kind of after Goddard, Ferguson, it feels like it really falls off. I'm real big on Njoku too. But Njoku he doesn't really correlate.
It doesn't matter. I mean, as a first tight end, he can totally be fine. Let's see what's there at running back too. We do have to consider that a little bit. We have Mixon and Henderson and Etienne's a little thin. This is all. It's this is always the turning point for me. Is do I take the running back and push the tight end or vice versa? Because I think there's a pretty big tier break at running back too. Well, it's tough.
So I think so. You're not really in on Kincaid, right?
No, I'm down. If you like Kincaid, I don't mind. I can see how that works. I will say the reports about his knee kind of throw me off. Like I'm fine with him being bad the first 2 years of his career, but I don't like the fact that he's hurt.
Oh, I mean, I'm not really in on Kincaid.
Oh, okay,
just, I didn't know if he was in play here or not.
I think I might go Spears and push tight end because I think the running backs are kind of falling off. Like losing Garendo there, losing Ray Davis. I like Rashad White too. Actually, we do have Miami. Do you want to do White instead? How do you feel about that? I don't know. Is he too boring and slow? Spears is more.
I'm overweight on both, so I'm fine with either.
Let's go White. Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's actually kind of a nice pick when you have Henderson. Henderson's like our big smash guy. We're just trying to get Henderson into the playoffs if he has a slow start.
And then we can also look at we could look at Miami QB later. Probably not this pick. Well, I guess we maybe would have to. I wonder where Waddle is. So Waddle's with this team at the 8 spot. He has Mahomes and Goff already.
Okay, and he does have an out with Geno as well with Bowers, and he has Bash. I think he wants Raiders. I think he wants Raiders. So I
Yeah.
think we can I would love to push Tua and hope we get a decent tight end coming back to us.
Okay, yeah, that seems like a good play.
Yeah, because I'd actually be, if we had to, I don't care about stuff like Dak and Trevor Lawrence. I could see being massive bounce backs this year, and it's just kind of, I don't know, just like we already made the bet on both those offenses in such a big way. It's like, I don't know. I go back and forth so much with the 3 and 2 quarterback thing, but I think in BBM, I do want to do more 2 quarterback builds. Maybe not this early in the year, though. That's kind of the thing. Maybe more so in August. I'm more comfortable with doing that because I know the skill position players that I want to get later in the draft or something. But whereas, as we get down in this draft, we're kind of guessing on players, but I don't know. A lot to think through.
Yeah, no, I mean, that kind of makes sense. I've probably leaned a little bit heavier into the 3 QB builds, but I'm not really opposed to either way. I definitely think Tua and Dak, we feel definitely good enough with those two, just stopping with it, because as long as they don't get injured, we should be totally fine with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that feels fine if we want to stop there. I definitely agree too, like you were saying, like we push Tua and see if he takes him or not. And then if not, maybe we look at him here.
Yeah, let's get a value on the third quarterback. If anything, it's another. We also have dimes with downs later if we need it to.
Oh yeah, that's a good call too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got options. We're fine either way.
Yeah, and Tua isn't a guy either that like he's a guy that falls so often that it never really feels good like pulling him up or anything like that. Especially when
realistic. I think the guy with the Jonnu draft or the 3 tight end guy, does he only have 1 quarterback? He'd be the
Josh Allen.
He's the Tua guy for sure.
Yeah, he has Jacoby. His only other real out would just be Jacoby.
It's fine. I'm willing to push Tua through him, and if he takes him, it's fine.
Well, yeah, especially since we like a lot of these tight ends.
I know. I'm really crossing my fingers. There goes one. That's not the one I wanted. Come on, baby. Don't do it.
One more spot.
Come on. I swear it always happens like this. All my drafts are the same, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, they just barely are like there's so many tight ends left. And then
if he goes Ferguson, I have a weird idea. I kind of want to go Bigsby if he takes Ferguson. Just take one of these Jacksonville running backs will be correct. And they actually talked about Karain talked about how handcucking it's Ferguson though. Thank God.
Ferguson.
Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can how handcucking guys at a certain price can actually be well worth it, especially when it's a very ambiguous room. So
yeah, no, and that makes sense to me too. I mean, think about like early last season when Chase Brown and Zach Moss were both pretty cheap. Yeah. Like if you picked both, you actually feel decently good about that move. Like obviously you'd rather just hit the nuts and get it right, but if you're getting one guy who's an absolute smash, it's worthwhile to do that. Like you don't need a ton of smashes.
Exactly. It's just the price. Like if I combine my 10th round pick and my 13th round pick and I'm guaranteed one really good pick, like that's probably a good idea.
Right. Like I wouldn't match up like Aaron Jones and Mason. I don't think that one would really work.
No, that's probably a little bit too expensive. Or like, I don't know. I don't think I'd be interested in like Bucky, Rashad White. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Right, because you put too much capital into Bucky, right?
Yeah, Bucky needs to be like breaking the slate at the running back position to be worth that 2nd round pick. Like I need Bucky to be a 1st round pick next year, kind of a thing.
Right. But, and it just doesn't make sense. Like they are high scoring and Rashad does catch passes, but
yeah,
it doesn't really work with a bet that high. But yeah, like I don't hate that idea though with ETN and Bigsby.
Yeah, or you could do like Jaden Blue and Miles Sanders. Like I could see that or something. Like, I could see, or if you're a Javonte guy, no hate, if you want to do Javonte or whatever. But yeah, just like these rooms where we don't know the backup, or even like Roshan Swift, maybe like that's kind of right on that line for me. 7th round pick in Swift, but
yeah, and they do kind of play different roles.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
yeah, I like to see quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I think
the guy didn't go Tua.
Yeah, I saw they went double receiver. So I will go over it really quick, just kind of update. So we have a 2-4-6-1, Dak and T-Law. We have Joe Mixon, Trevion Henderson, Travis Etienne, Rashad White. And then we have CeeDee Lamb, Lad McConkey, Tyreek Hill, Travis Hunter, Debo Samuel, Josh Downs, then Ferguson at tight end. That feels really good so far to me. I mean,
Yeah.
running back maybe a little on the lighter side, but we have so much firepower at receiver that it feels really good.
Totally. Yeah, and we're gonna take some bigger swings with like the last 2 picks too, not like the Rashad White archetypes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
That's what
I
I was
am
thinking too.
100% Brenton Strange here.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
push and 2
Oh,
it goes. That's
there
totally
we go.
fine. We have an out with Daniel Jones. If we really want him, it would be like if we're in the 16th round and we can't think of a single player we want, kind of a thing. 17th round or
Right.
whatever. But doesn't even have to be. I don't mind. What do we think we need to finish with here? Like a 2.
I
We could do
think
2,
probably
6,
6
7,
running
3.
backs. Yeah, that's what I would lean towards.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think I think 2-6. I think we go 6 and 7 at running back and receiver. And then
Mhm.
where we want to put the third piece just depends, like if we get a decent tight end spot. And then if we don't, maybe we tack on like dimes. But if
Yeah.
we get a tight end we feel good about, maybe we tack on that third tight end at some point.
Yeah. And it's kind of fun if you plan for the third tight end. It's fun just to save that pick till last round. There's so many, like there's legit starting tight ends in the 18th round. So that's like a fun pick to plan towards leaving it there for that. So just kind of see what it gives us here. We may as well like take best available running back or wide receiver. I'm trying to think. We have Lawrence. Could go Diami Brown. We're kind of like overstacked though. We have ETN, Hunter, and Strange. That's probably enough. Not in
Yeah.
BBM. I don't love the overstacking thing. I think actually just those 3 is probably where I would stop.
Yeah, that's probably how I would lean too.
I think we just
I
take a
would
rookie.
be
I think we just take a rookie receiver. Just have some fun with an upside swing. I don't even know. Just like if you had a
we
player take on a Pat Bryant or any kind of guy you liked down here.
I'm I'm a decently big Pat Bryant guy to be
All right.
fair. But
He's coming around the
or
bend here.
yeah. But I was gonna say too, we could look at like AD Mitchell, get a
Oh yeah,
second indie piece as a bring back. I don't know how you feel about that, getting 2 indie receivers if we're not gonna take dimes.
I'm fine with
Obviously not
that.
right here, but
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. Well, yeah, now we're like looking at Jalen Noel and we have Mixon and stuff. Like I would just 100%. That's easy.
Jalen Noel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hunter Henry is also interesting, but I think I like saving that tight end
We-
pick because I know what's down there. I think I would
I'm
just go Noel and be done at receiver. Yeah.
okay, I'm pretty cool with that. And then that gives us like, yeah, receiving out in that Chargers game. So,
Hmm.
that's always cool too, where we have that game pretty well built out. Oh, they actually go
Right.
Dallas week 16 also.
That's epic.
So yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. We have like Dallas kind of built out
Ooh,
multiple weeks.
actually got a kind of a fun name. If we do get Mason Taylor on this team, it would tie together a few different games.
Oh
As
yeah, week
far as
15
week
Jags.
15, it would also play Henderson week 17. That's kind
Yeah.
of an interesting spot.
Yeah, and I mean I like Mason Taylor. I definitely have a good amount of him.
Yeah.
Like
But let's
11%
just see what's
on
there at
him.
running back. I think that's the most like if Dowdle's there, he's pretty damn interesting to me in the 16th round. I know he's top ADP right now.
Yeah, I
There
like
is also the
Dowdle.
Miles Sanders, but man, every guest stream I do I want Miles Sanders on the team? That is the choice you have to make sometimes. Because I did say fun and exciting, and that's not very fun and exciting.
Yeah, it's a little bit the opposite. I mean, we do have Trevion early though. ETN, I mean, it's not like he's an old dust ball guy, right? If he takes over, he's kind of fun and exciting.
Yeah.
So we
Well,
have
it's just
kind of a
like
mixture
it's
already. We
fine.
have
I mean, fun and
upside.
exciting doesn't matter if you
Yeah.
hit the starting running back like to some degree.
Oh
Like
yeah.
like Miles Sanders, when you have Dak and he is a pass catcher, like even Carolina last year was still working him on their passing down. So I don't know, man. He's running with the ones right now. Like he's first team in it. And he's a 16th round pick. I don't know. Seems like we should
Yeah.
probably just do it. I don't know. And we can still make the 6th guy like a Keaton Mitchell or something fun.
There we go. Now you're talking.
All right.
No, that is true. I've definitely come around a lot more on Sanders. Like, I don't think I have too much of him, but he's definitely a guy I'll mix in more. Yeah, I don't have hardly any, but the reports lately have really
Yeah,
made it seem like a lot better click.
Yeah, I think you just got to change with the reports. Like, obviously, I was not a big Miles Sanders guy, but I can see how, he's better than Javonte Williams, and he's like, been an NFL professional for the last 4 years. Like, then they're gonna start him. That would not shock me. Who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
Miles Sanders got a little bit more juice. He's been banged up last couple years, huh? Let's check some Miles Sanders stats here. But honestly, I think I would go probably Miles Sanders here or Daniel Jones. But then do we do the 3 quarterback thing? I don't know.
I don't know.
He's there.
I would probably lean towards we don't need the 3rd quarterback, or like we push it more. I mean, I'm open to it if that's how you think we should go.
No, let's go Sanders, and then I think we've done enough adult decisions at running back to make the last pick at least really fun.
Okay, well, we still have 2 more, so we probably want a tight end and a running back, or
I think it's either a tight end or a quarterback, and then 1 more running back.
Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that I know you mentioned?
Yeah, Samson is super interesting. Brashard Smith, Keaton Mitchell. I'm just looking for a guy that could be the nuts. Taj Brooks. Apparently, the team hates Zach Moss or something. Like, he hasn't been mentioned once. Jordan James. I mean, shit. But yeah, something like this. I like where we're going with it. Let's take a rookie. Let's have some fun.
I don't think there's anyone this far down.
Trevor Etienne is interesting.
That's what I was just gonna click.
He catches my eye.
I got more him than I have a Miles Sanders. But there's a lot of fun options.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we go. Do you think it's Jones and then just stay at 2 tight ends if Jones falls? I think that might be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good with Ferguson and Strange. They both have pretty locked in roles. If they're healthy, I don't know, does a Dalton Schultz or anything really do much for us?
Not really. It would be. I'd actually pull up Sanders or Juwan Johnson, but man, it's tough. It's really tough. I like Jones because he has rushing. People don't his best season was 700 yards on the ground and several rushing touchdowns as well. I know he's kind of goofy looking and stuff, but
yeah,
and he can't throw the ball all that well. And he might not be starting week 17. I can lay out every negative scenario, but for the most part, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty open to dimes in general. Obviously, I don't have much, but that was more just because I think it was a lot more ambiguous. Both Richardson's injury, he feels like a pretty good click, and his upside is, just weekly upside. I think he has a lot more weekly upside than where he goes. It's just a bench risk, but we have 2 guys where we don't.
Well, really much better offense. He should have better weapons. They play in a dome. It should be okay. I don't know. The tight ends are so middling. I think Jones actually provides. I'm down to go Daniel Jones. It's kind of the whole thesis bet on Josh Downs to some degree is that Jones is in there. Because if it is Richardson, then I'm not going to like Josh Downs as much, even though Josh Downs is going to be probably open every time. I just don't know if Richardson can physically get him the football. So,
yeah. No, I mean, I think that's pretty fair. I think Dimes plays off his skill set really well. Richardson is maybe a little bit better for the Alec Pierces and stuff, but but for the short area guys, I feel like Dimes just his skill set fits them way better, and just his weekly upside. Even if he hits our lineup once or twice this year, it doesn't.
Daniel Jones last year had. I'll just read his best games: 18 this half, or just a regular 4-point whatever touchdown underdog score. 18, 19, 23. And 24 he played 10 games, but he dropped, 4 usable games. The 24 pointer looks nice. He had, he had 7 attempts for 54 yards on the ground and 1 rushing touchdown in that 24-point game. So yeah. And, you go back to his good year. He had a 33-point game in 2023, 2022, the year that he had 700 on the ground. he was going off. I mean, that was the year that he won Karain the money. Or actually, he didn't even need Daniel Jones to score because he was Brady's. But he had 36 points in week 17. He had a 27-point game that year, 29 points, another 30 bomb in the early season. So just like he's got rushing upside. Like, I don't know. I don't even know if you're going to get that from, I don't know, like Aaron Rodgers or whatever. Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, definitely not the rushing upside, but I
no,
think
it'd just be like a 30-point game.
Oh yeah. I mean, Rodgers, like, he might have got close that game. He was like force feeding it to Devontae.
Yeah.
But on the Steelers, like with their pace of play, I don't really see how he could get there.
No, or just like any of these late like pocket passers. I don't know. Jones just got he's got weekly ceiling, and he's going to be on a better offense, I think, than the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, it might be like realistically, you could argue one of the best like offenses he's ever had, basically, right?
Yeah.
Well, and
Jonathan Taylor, Downs, Pittman, AD Mitchell, Pierce. That's like a decent team. Their O-line kind of sucks.
Tyler Warren,
Tyler Warren. Yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, straight up.
Well, and one thing I was gonna throw in with Dimes too, last year he was coming off a torn ACL.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
His rushing was really limited, especially early in the season. So I mean, he could have even more rushing upside, kind of closer to like 2 years ago than what he showed last year.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think he's a fantastic pick. The way it goes obviously wrong is if he gets benched, Steichen's fired, the team sucks. He gets benched. Say it's not even Richardson. They just go to the Riley Leonard guy. They're like, we're just going to because teams do that sometimes where they're like, they fire everyone and then they just let the 5th round pick, the IE Spencer Rattler, whatever, just like play the rest of the season because they're done with, they know Jones is not going to be on the team. They know Richardson is not going to be on the team. So like something that is like the main scary risk. But in the 17th round, the upside provided seems, I think we nailed this draft. Let's just take a fun running back here and we're stoked.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think this team came together really well actually. And yeah, I agree. Definitely 6th running back here. So is it one of these guys? Someone I didn't add?
I don't know. What are you thinking?
I mean, my favorite one is probably Taj Brooks overall.
That's fair.
But I'm okay with any of the 5.
Let's go with Neil. Go Neil. I'm gonna lean Neil over Brooks just for the time being. I still want to hear it. It's definitely a way better offense, so I get it, but I don't know, that off the Schneid comment about how they just never play the guys that we want them to play is kind of ringing in my head. We had a lot of years of the Chris Evans and then Trevion Williams was on the Bengals. It was like explosive running backs that people were kind of wish casting 2022, 2023 in best ball contest that like, oh, this is the Bengals guy. Mixon's so inefficient, like this and that. They just don't really care. So I do think Taj Brooks is really fun. And if he gets the job, he is definitely like going to be the guy you need down here in that offense. But Kamara's old. The Saints have potentially nothing to play for at the end of the season. Kendre's always been banged up. And then I just relate back to getting a rookie from this class and what's supposed to be a really good class. Devin Neal, maybe in last year's class, might have been drafted around a Blake Corum or a Marshawn Lloyd in the 3rd round. But this class is so deep that maybe he went later, kind of a thing.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. And I think kind of like you were talking about earlier, I think like before the draft, a lot of kind of like the film bros, like the ball knowers.
Yeah, they liked Neil. Neil was like a pick 130 in the big board. He was like pick 130. He slowly started trickling down because people realized he's not going to get the draft capital. But even still, it's like, why was he up there in the first place, huh? You guys set the market. You guys must know something. He must be somewhat good for him to go that high. Like obviously we weren't into Woody Marks. You guys let him fall out of the sky. He started at pick 150 and became undrafted by the end of it. Neil never really moved. So you guys must know something. So I'm going to rely on the market here that there was a reason people were comfortably taking him at like 140 or whatever, just on the talent.
I think that's the thing too. Like he always seemed like a really good running back, just solid overall, but just maybe didn't have the athletic talent. So maybe that could be a little bit why he slipped. But yeah, I definitely feel good getting him as just kind of an upside swing, 18th round pick on this team. Um, so I'll recap the team quick and then just kind of give my thoughts a little bit and then get your thoughts a little bit on it.
Sure.
Um, so it's a 3-6-7-2. So we got Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones at QB. Feel really good with the QB room like that. Pretty happy with that. At running back, we have Joe Mixon, Trevion Henderson, Travis Etienne, Rashad White, Miles Sanders, Devin Neal. Sanders and Etienne stacked with our quarterbacks. I feel like the running back room is a good blend of kind of like upside swings and then kind of like veterans we feel pretty good about, some projectable volume. So we're not losing too much early, but we have good upside baked in still. And then at receiver, we have CD Lamb, Lad McConkey, Tyreek Hill, Travis Hunter, Debo Samuel, Josh Downs, Jalen Knoll. I feel like receivers probably our biggest strength overall. I feel great with this receiver room.
Yeah,
And
it's
at
kind of
tight
fun.
end, we have Ferguson and Strange, which feels pretty good at tight end.
Yeah, we're definitely light on tight ends, and this is another reason how, like, going back to the Bowers thing, like how those guys could just be burying the field like this year because a lot of people are doing this kind of a tight end room. They just punt it, so that could make Bowers like extra valuable because people are doing stuff like this. But at the same time, like a year to year, well, at least the last couple years, like this would actually show that this is like totally viable. So there's a couple different ways to look at it, but yeah, it's a strong team. We have some old guys, but I think we got them at good values. Like the old guys we did take were not expensive old guys except Mixon. But the funny part about Mixon is he has an even older guy behind him. So he's technically the young guy in the running
Yeah.
back room. And yeah, beyond that, like, we took ETN, White, and Sanders, but those guys are like at least 1B running backs like on their team at the current time past pick 100. So there definitely can't be that bad of picks. And then you mix in the upside of a Devin Neal and a Henderson. And then we probably have the strongest wide receiver room in the entire pod. So that feels good.
Yeah.
Debo at a value with a bring back. That felt good too. So
Yeah. And Josh Downs is our wide receiver 6, Debo at wide receiver 5. I mean,
yeah.
and we got a ton of stacks and bringbacks in this build too.
I don't
Um,
even know if there's one non-correlated player. I guess Devin Neal, but
oh yeah, I guess Devin Neal, but like,
that's the
but I
only
mean, we
one.
have yeah, we have. I mean, we really did kind of stack it out a ton, and yeah, like this is I don't know, like this is like a BVG type build, but this is a build I really like doing too, where it just feels like receiver is so strong, like it can easily be the strongest in your entire room. And running back might feel a little weak, but since it's such a fragile position, just like these upside swings and kind of like you said, like 1B type
Wait, is
guys.
this true? Did Cam Akers go to the Saints just now? Is that something I missed from
Like
today?
couple hours ago, yeah.
Oh, should have told me.
I
I
guess
didn't know that.
I didn't even think about it when you mentioned Neil. That's my
Damn.
bad.
That's all right.
But
We still got
yeah. The 16% Neil bag down horrendous.
it. That sucks. I wonder why. I mean, it could be a lot of different reasons. They still have a Clyde Edwards-Helaire and a bunch of weird stuff going on over there. But
Yeah.
that's all right. That's quite all right.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel like the team came out really good.
Yeah.
Pretty happy with it overall.
I think so. I think everything fell right into place. We didn't really have to reach on anyone, kind of reach on ETN, but I think he's reachable right now, especially after any negative Tootin press again.
Oh yeah, and he's a guy with like a fake ADP right now, kind of like he gets pulled up all the time right now with the positive news on him and the bad news on ETN.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh, I did want to just real quick look at. I know Al Boogie was in here. I did just want to real quick see what he built.
Oh yeah.
But then yeah, them all good. So he had Baker and Jordan Love. That feels pretty good at 2. Good stopping at 2. Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Cam Scadaboo, Najee Harris, Braylon Allen. Pretty strong running back room. That feels pretty good. And then at receiver, he got 9. So you want Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, George Pickens, Chris Godwin, Matthew Golden, Luther Burden, Josh Palmer, Alec Pierce, Isaac Tesla. And then
Okay.
Dallas Goedert, Jawan. So pretty weak.
See,
Pretty light at
the
tight
more
end.
I see these tight end rooms, the more I want to just take Bowers. I'm starting to realize that
Yeah.
everyone is like, even emos into doing this and stuff. Like, if this is just the norm, God, I should just take Bowers on every team because it would be such an easy way to like have a massive leverage over the field.
Well, yeah, because like the thesis of like these guys can score and then so they can like kind of nullify your Bowers is fine, but how many weeks a year are they really doing that? Like those two specific ones, right? Like it is pretty true where I don't know, the Bowers McBride, if people are building like that, especially sharp drafters, maybe it is a little more valuable
Yeah, no,
than what we've been
like you
thinking.
said, it could definitely be a big trap. And if anything, it's kind of like anytime you can get data on what the field's doing and kind of just move the opposite way, I kind of like that. And honestly, the more I look at like if you pull the beginning of the board up, how many teams like have like 2 running backs through 6 rounds, and including us, we did too. But people aren't pissing like they
Uh
used to, man. And I'll just throw that out there right now. So everyone, and I still see this in the chat and stuff, is people are like, oh, this is the zero RB bro. It's like no one's even a zero RB bro anymore. No one even has the balls to do it. Maybe did the guy Josie do it? Yeah,
this
he did.
this
He
one,
committed to it. Right. And now he
yeah.
has a
So
very
yeah,
unique build.
let's see just real quick. Okay, well,
Okay, I don't know about
yeah.
all that, but I don't know about all that, but I like
Mahomes, Goff, Gino Darnold, Charbonnet, Ray Davis, Bigsby, Giddens, Brashard Smith.
I don't even
Uh,
hate it. I can't even hate on it.
yeah, I mean the
Starting running
QBs,
backs.
and then Amon-Ra, JSN, JMO, Zay Flowers, Waddle, Cup, Besh, and then
Sure.
Bowers, Noah Gray. It's
Sure.
not the worst build for a 4 QB build.
It's really not, honestly.
Like, that's
I
wild.
didn't
Though.
mind it. I kind of miss looking at running back rooms like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no one's doing that anymore though. But
Yeah.
yeah. But
I'm gonna get back into it with some of my BBMs. I think with the other contests, I'm gonna continue to be just aware of getting running backs a little bit earlier. But I think in BBM, I kind of want to just like I just noticed like people are just grabbing a lot of running backs early, and like no one is really because last year you would see in your rooms like 5 people would be committing to zero RB or whatever. That is so
yeah.
much different than this year. It's like 1 guy, 2 guys, maybe.
Well,
So everyone
and
else is feeling really balanced and stuff. I'm noticing. It just looks like so.
did you see that data that came out too where it was like it went from like the high teens or 20% of teams were like 0 RB, and then last year it jumped all the way up to like 40 something percent of
Yeah, right,
teams.
right. And now
Like it
now it's
over
come
doubled.
crashing back down, right? And I think that's kind of why it's really interesting to do zero RB again. Because
Well,
people aren't really doing it.
when you look at like our team, like, RB is probably like it's a little lighter, but this does not feel like a bad running back room at all.
No, no,
And we
no.
started 4 straight wide receivers.
No,
So
it's yeah, but I think to qualify it, you would have to get your
wait till
tight end
after
in there,
6.
do something like that. Yeah, it'd be like
Yeah.
we needed to take Bowers and then do another 4 wide receivers or whatever to really consider it the zero RB true way approach. But I
Yeah, but
think
even if you
Henderson's
get like a
profile
Pollard.
was fun, and I do
Oh
enjoy
yeah.
I do enjoy getting that little. I don't think I've ever been like a full zero RB bro or whatever, but I've always enjoyed getting like my first running back as like a veteran guy. I like doing it later than like spending up on the Henry and the CMC and stuff, but I really don't mind when it's like the James Conner or the Pollard or one of the old guys as my first guy, but then add on like the Hendersons and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Or like I was kind of looking like something like this, like a Pollard, Pacheco, or like like
Yeah.
Mason went down here, like a Pollard, Jordan Mason as your first 2.
Yeah.
That seems like it could be like really good. And
It's
like,
thin, but yeah, and that's where like you're like, okay, those 2 are just kind of hitting my lineup just enough in the beginning. My wide receivers are doing whatever, but then and you're floating
yeah, then
around
you
in fifth,
tack
sixth
on.
place in your pod. But yeah, hopefully you hit on whatever you hit on the Isaac Arendo or the Jalen Wright, and now you're just like moon rocketing like up to the top of the pod because your receivers are better than everyone else's. You're winning at tight end. quarterbacks usually score the same for the most part. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so I just wanted to say, thank you so much for coming on, like doing the draft with me. It was pretty fun to be able to like do a draft with you and everything.
Oh yeah,
So
Harbin.
yeah. So
Dude,
that was a
thank
pretty good
you.
time. I think we built a great team.
I think so too, man. No, I like that team. I think it's the easiest spot to pick from is the middle of the board. So I was happy to see that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
always harder when you got to make decisions to pull up guys on the turn and stuff. Because I think we pushed everything properly, like getting that fall on Jake Ferguson. Every little thing kind of came together, and that's just kind of how it rolls, BBG and Hartman, man. So, but yeah, dude, please send me the that clip you made one time if you don't mind. I would definitely want to play that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll send that to you for sure. And then, I mean, I'm sure everyone in the chat already knows where to find you. I put all your links, like your YouTube, Twitter. I put the Discord in the description too.
Oh, sweet. Thank you.
But if you just want to like let them know, like, your
Oh,
plans
yeah.
for the next couple days or whatever.
Definitely. Well, don't go anywhere from here, but I will be live in half an hour over on my channel doing sprint drafts and stuff like that. And this Sunday, we got Who Hames coming on for the trying to win life-changing money. So I've done a draft with Who Hames before over on his account. So it'll be fun to put the pressure on him and have him on this Sunday. And then I think tonight, like, PPR Tyler might sneak his way on. He's like on a hinge date or something. So we'll see if he can like find time after that or whatever. I kind of asked him and he said maybe. But we also might be looking at an NP43 random visit as well. So it could be a fun stream tonight, but I'm trying to do sprints. And so if you're a sprint enthusiast, please come help fill these rooms at least. But yeah, thanks for having me, Harbin. And thanks for always being in the chat over the years and stuff like that, man. It's fun to meet all you guys.
Oh yeah. And I'll be back in the chat tonight. I need to get a couple more sprints in. So
for sure. Yeah,
so
there we go. Yeah, they're doing
out.
that promo. I mean, if you do 7 by midnight tonight, you do get $25, which is not like great, but that is a free BBM entry to do. If you're already planning on doing sprint drafts anyways, if you want to just go heavy on them today, you are getting a $25 rake back.
Yeah, and if you do the math on it, it's so the rake on 7 sprints is $14.50, I think.
Okay.
And then so they're basically paying you $10 to do them. Like
That's
if you
awesome.
do the rake. So yeah, it's like a pretty good promo.
No, totally. I already know I'm going to do them anyways. I popped in a few slows. I did some this morning. So if I do 3 on my account tonight, I'll met my quota. So that's kind of the goal, but I got to make some food before the stream tonight. Thanks for having me. And I will see you guys over on my channel. All right. Later, Harbin.
Right. See you. Thank you, Ian. See you. Oh, sorry. I took down the screen. There we go. All right. Yeah. So that was really cool having BBG on. That was a fun time. I probably am gonna rip one more draft. But yeah, I do want to get to the chat real quick. Sorry, I was kind of ignoring it. Usually I'm pretty up on the chat. I just didn't want to. It's always weird kind of like interrupting to pull in the chat or anything. Yeah, thank you guys all for stopping by too. I appreciate that. Who Aim stopped by. Sup fam? Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for stopping by, brother. Crossface Yo-Yo, what's up, man? Boofy, you guys make a nice couple. Happy anniversary. Appreciate it, brother. Cam Akers of the Saints, Fantasy Football Garage. Al Boogie was in here. He was in the draft. And I think I got to that earlier. Yeah, Al Boogie. Yeah, thank you guys all for stopping by. I appreciate it. Sorry if I didn't get to anyone. It's a little bit weird having someone on, but I am gonna rip another draft real quick. I just want to do one more real quick, and then I'll probably hop off. I think BBG, he said he's going live in like half an hour. I'm gonna check the sprint, but if it's not close, I'll rip. Sprint is +1. So I'll actually rip a sprint. And then so if anyone wants to hop into that, then go for it. But yeah, I think that team that we did, I think that came out pretty good. I was pretty happy how that team came out. We got a lot of correlation. We got a lot of our guys stacked. We got CD with Dak, Travis Hunter with Trevor Lawrence, Josh Downs with Danny Dimes, Ferguson and Strange with Dak and T-Law. We had a lot of bringbacks too. We had Strange with our Indy. Obviously, we had kind of the Indy Jacks like double stack, but Downs with Jacksonville, Hunter with Indy, Debo with Dallas, Ladd with Dallas week 16, Travis Hunter with Indy. So yeah, I mean, it felt like it came out really good. I was pretty happy with that team. And we didn't do full zero RB, but we got pretty close. So the sprint's about to start. Oh, Al Boogie hopped in. All right, cool. All right, so I got the 12 spot. Okay, so yeah, so now I'm kind of good to go. I'll get to a couple of these comments actually that I kind of missed. I saw a few of them. Green Bean, 0 RB makes sense when RB's worth investing in fall, but that doesn't seem to happen this year. Um, I think like with that statement, it can be a little tough to see like early on. Like a guy like I can give you like maybe some examples. Like me and BBG were talking about a little bit with like the Jacksonville running backs. Like it is ambiguous and you don't know if you're gonna hit, but like one of these guys between ETN, Tootin, Bigsby, one of those guys will probably be a big hit this year. So like, you make bets on that. There's a lot of these rookies later too, right? Or like even contingent guys like a Ramondre, a Tajay, maybe not Ramondre as much, but like a Tajay, a Ray Davis, Jaden Blue, Trey Benson, Isaac Garendo, Tyler Algier, Rashad White, where you don't feel great about their roles, but if the starter goes down and you went crazy at receiver early, let's say you have a draft or you hit the right Jaguars guy, and then you get a good contingent guy who takes over because the starter was hurt, you could have an extremely strong, like supercharged lineup. So I think that's part of the thesis with 0 RB. It does feel like you're getting good prices, especially kind of like where we took RB in that draft, like that 5-6 round range. It feels like you're getting very good prices around there. So I do think maybe this year some of those guys are good values that feel good to grab, but I think 0 RB can definitely be viable. You just got to kind of hit on some of those lower end guys. Or there's like, kind of like we took a little bit too. Like there's a lot of rookies down here, like the DJ Giddens, Brashard Smith, Devin Neal, Jarquez Hunter. I like quite a bit. Jalen Wright has good contingent upside. Roshan could have good upside just as like a TD scorer. So there's a lot of upside down here, and it can be kind of thin and hard to hit like all of them. So here I'm gonna take the small fall on Genty, and then I'll grab a receiver. Uh, Probably grab Brian Thomas. I don't love his schedule. I like Drake London's schedule a lot better for the sprint format since this is a sprint draft, but I'll lean just a little bit like higher ADP player, maybe just a little bit better talent I like. And I'll go with Brian Thomas there. That feels like a decent start. Like I like getting 1-1. Like I was just talking about 0 RB, but getting any of these round 1 RBs also feels good. I think it's good to vary your builds, just do different things with your builds in general. That's the thing. Like 0 RB can be viable, but you don't have to do it every draft by any means. It's like a good strategy to mix in though. Oh, Fantasy Football Garage, nice team. Hey, thanks, bro. Harwin, who is this guy? Yeah. Oh yeah, PPR Tyler's out on his Tinder date. Hopefully he smashes. We'll find out later, maybe. Probably not though. He probably won't say. Fantasy Football Garage going 0 RB is kind of tough with the QBs all going in that range too. Yeah, no, I mean that's pretty fair, but a key component of going 0 RB is also getting like an elite tight end or an elite QB, because you want elite onesies. That's part of the thesis. You don't want to rip just 6 straight receivers. You want to win at every position other than running back with your early capital. So if you got an elite QB, then you only really need to take one other one in that range. So it does kind of allow you to do it because that's also part of the thesis, right? You want to win the onesies as well when you do a 0 RB build. You don't want to rip just like, oh, I'm going to grab 6 straight receivers or something like that. You want to win onesies and win receiver. And then the only thing you're giving up is like the most fragile position, which is running back with the early projection. But then later you get kind of that upside, like I was talking about with some of those contingent guys. You do got to hit on them. Obviously, you can just miss. You can get, like from last year, you get Jalen Wright, Blake Corum, Tyler Algier, and then you're like, oh, that didn't work at all. But if you hit the right ones, it can work really, really well. Fantasy Ball Garage earlier, he said, I'm working on a novel, The Death of 0 RB. It's a nonfiction based in the year 2024. No, I mean, that's true. It died in 2024, but every year is a different slate. So we'll see. I think it might just be coming back this year. Who Hands was 10% to 22%. I thought you might actually be right. I might have misquoted. BBG didn't call me out on it, so we'll just run with what I said. But what you're saying might actually be more right. But it more than doubled was just kind of my point. But I might have doubled the double. So my bad. People are reacting to last year's RB's production, definitely. Sad on real time. Pissing is dead. RBs are king. I got Genty in the first round, so that's what I really believe. I just be saying stuff. I'm with you, Thad. Don't let the words fool you. I grabbed Genty in the first round. You know how I feel. Let's see. Thad RIP 0 RB. Fair enough. I mean, I definitely think like grabbing the RBs in the mid range feels pretty good this year. Some of those guys feel pretty undervalued, but 0 RB, full 0 RB could be pretty viable, especially like I think me and BBG were talking about a little bit where like this rookie RB class was seen as very strong. And I don't know, like now a lot of those guys were kind of pushing them down because maybe they didn't get the best spots. But if those guys really are that talented, then I don't know. I could just see them I could see them outperforming ADP, at least a few of them, right? If this class was supposed to be very strong, then maybe a few of these rookies like overperform. Maybe the top end running backs don't stay quite as healthy as last year. So there's more just opportunities available. Like, a guy like Tyjae Spears, he had big spikes last year and he was completely stuck behind Pollard, but then Pollard got hurt. So, if you get those opportunities, that can work out pretty well. I'm definitely gonna grab Lamar, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna grab Lamar. I was debating between him and Jaden. I think elite QB is pretty valuable in this format. And then I'm gonna grab T-Mac. I don't really have anything else. I'm just looking for correlation right now. I don't have really anything else that correlates, so I'll just grab Ted McMillan here. That feels pretty good. Could have went with Chase Brown. He's a little bit of a faller. He does correlate week 15. I'm just not super high on him. Also like correlating with Baltimore as a running back is not great because Baltimore has like a killer run defense. So it's not even really like great correlation in general, in my opinion. But I think elite QB and sprint, like when you look at other sprint formats like FFPC and stuff, the elite QBs have shown to kind of separate in those formats. So I think they're pretty valuable in the sprint where it's like multiple weeks of kind of needing to hit the nuts in a row. I think just the ceiling floor combo of those elite QBs can be very valuable in a format like this. And you kind of see it reflected in their ADPs too. Like Josh Allen, he's ADP 27. Lamar's ADP 29. Even Jaden, he's ADP 37. So that's a little closer. But you see they're all bumped up slightly from where like a BBM would be or something. So I think getting an elite QB in this format feels really good. I really like T-Mac. I like Brian Thomas, Genty. I mean, Genty and Thomas are my 1-2 turn. But I really like T-Mac there. Getting like a Chase Brown would have been okay. I just really lean into T-Mac. He also has a very nice schedule. He gets at New Orleans and then home versus Tampa Bay and Seattle. That's a really light schedule. So I just really love him in pretty much every format. But then in this format, I like getting him even more a little bit. With that on real time, the defenses are playing mostly two deep zone now. It's a real football thing that's changing fantasy. Oh yeah. I definitely agree with that. I do think though that gives the opportunity to okay, like the guy that you hate the most is Rashi Rice, right? Like Rashi Rice, the reason he eats so much is because like exactly what you said. Like defenses are playing two deep safeties. So these underneath receivers are really eating in that receiving game. And like maybe that means like I do get though that makes running backs maybe a little bit more efficient in general, but I think it allows some of these receivers, like especially underneath receivers, to eat a little more. And maybe if passing games aren't as effective as a whole and running games are a little more effective as a whole, then maybe we really want to lean into the elite pass catchers and then get some of the more contingent upside running backs later. Like that can actually be an argument for zero RB because that might mean when the backups are playing, like when the Tyjae Spears gets his chance because Tony Pollard's hurt, when Jaden Blue gets his chance, Isaac Grendel gets his chance, whatever, pick a later guy. When they get playing time, they're going to be even more efficient, more effective. Where if defenses are selling out to stop a pass, then maybe those later receivers will be even less effective, right? So maybe like something like that is actually saying you want to go heavier in the highly talented receivers and then pick running backs with less talent since they'll have an easier path with the current defensive meta. I mean, I think that can be a way to view it as well. Um, oh yeah, and I forgot Al Boogie's in this room too. So let's see how he's kind of just starting it. Um, so Al Boogie started Saquon, Rashi Rice, Trey McBride, James Cook, Travis Hunter. That feels like a really good start. You got Saquon and then James Cook, pretty good value on him at 47. Like I'm not super huge on James Cook, but I think with as much as he's been sliding, that actually feels pretty good. You got McBride with your Rice, obviously. And Travis Hunter at 50 feels pretty good too. So that seems like a pretty good start to me. Uh, the sprint man himself, Jewish McCaffrey. He went Lamb, AJ Brown, Brees Hall, George Kittle, George Pickens. So doubled up on Dallas. Got George Kittle elite tight end. Brees Hall at 29. I don't hate that. I'm really in on Brees Hall, but that is a little early. I like that start too, though, overall. Took Kittle a little early too. Oh, sweet. And I got Zay Flowers back with my Lamar. So that feels really good. And then I'm gonna grab a running back here, probably. Um, I could go Kamara. I could go Harvey. I do think he'll continue to slide a little bit. So I'll probably hold off on Harvey. Trevion goes with my Baltimore. He has a pretty rough schedule. Um, I really like Alvin Kamara's schedule, so I'll probably lean him. I already have a rookie, so like I have Genty, so maybe getting just a more established kind of vet guy will be kind of a better combo with Genty. Um, that feels pretty good, and getting Zay there feels great. Getting him behind ADP stacked with Lamar, I mean that feels fantastic. So I'm pretty happy starting with this. It gives me a lot of flexibility too. Like, yeah, I have my elite QB, but then I have two running backs I feel good about, three receivers I feel really good about. So it gives me just a lot of flexibility on the next turn. I think when you're playing on the turns, that's always a good way to go where you're not so boxed into what you have to do with those next two picks. Like I can kind of do whatever I want with 84 and 85 now. On real time thad, yeah, I'm higher on Hollywood than most. So now that's four receivers sharing targets. That's why Rice should go later. I'm at three receivers and Kelsey. Fair enough. Fair enough. I was just saying, like, some of those underneath guys can eat, but I get what you're saying. That's fair. That's fair. Alex faded in the 9-hole cooking. I am new sprint master. Okay, I'll check out your team. Give me just 1 second. Alex faded. All right, let's see. So you got Malik Neighbors, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle at receiver. I mean, that's a pretty good receiver group to start. And then you got Henry, you got Chase Brown at a big value, and then RJ Harvey at a decent value too. Yeah, I mean, I think the team looks pretty nice so far. I like it. Uh, so do any of these guys like correlate much with each other? So you got Washington with your Giants week 15. Um, yeah, so I mean, you got a little bit of correlation in there too. Uh, maybe like a Green Bay piece will go with your running backs. Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a good start. We'll see if you're. I mean, I don't know if you know the Jewish McCaffrey lore, but this guy's like famously known for the sprint. So you'll have to build a pretty nice team to take that title, but we'll see. We'll see how you do. Start looks pretty good though. I like the start so far. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think also just in these lobbies too, I think most people build pretty solid in general. Just because it is, I think with a little bit higher price point contest and just a contest that maybe isn't being played quite as much. I think that the rooms in general are pretty sharp. You know, people aren't doing really like I don't know, like sometimes you just see like questionable decisions. But I feel like in this room, everyone looks like they're building pretty solid. Um, yeah, it does make it maybe a little bit tougher, like just to be in the rooms, but I don't know. I think it also can be kind of helpful to be in a little bit sharper rooms because like people kind of stay in their lane more. Like they don't really like take your guys or QB stacks or whatever. Like obviously, if I can ever snipe Al Boogie, I'm gonna do it. But other than that, like people play it pretty smart. Um, okay, okay, you know them. Respect to JMC always. All right, yeah, fair. Um, but yeah, no, I liked your start though. I think that looks pretty good so far. But yeah, JMC, he is the sprint. The sprint is his contest. He owns it. Um, his team looks pretty solid so far. I kind of already looked at it. But but yeah, so I'll kind of go back over like kind of just how I'm playing it out. So I'm probably looking at the next turn. Like I could go two receivers or I could go receiver running back. It kind of depends what falls. Um, I am looking at a couple guys. I don't totally want to say because I know a couple of you are in here. Um, but there's a couple guys I like quite a bit. Uh, what else could I look at? So I also have Indy and Seattle correlation. So like I could even look at like pulling up a Josh Downs. That's kind of it for right now for correlation. But the thing is, in the sprint, all 3 weeks count equally. So like I would also want to look at like New Orleans, Tampa Bay correlation, Jets, Denver correlation, um, any correlation with Kamara, any correlation with Genty. So there's maybe a couple guys that are options there that I could match with my current build, but we'll kind of see what comes back. Um, See, and I don't think because even like this team, they got Bowers and then two running backs, but they started with Amon Ra and they went Bowers, Kyron, Mixon, then Rome Debo. So even that feels pretty good, like only getting one receiver through the first four, but then they double tapped it. So I feel like their receiver room's pretty good. Um, yeah, I mean a lot of these teams are really normal. I don't see oh wow. Garrett Wilson at 19. That is pretty odd. You definitely don't see that very often. Uh, I think that's a little bit extreme where I don't really understand it, especially over like AJ Brown, Lad McConkey. It's just really hard for me to see that. I've seen Garrett Wilson pulled up like quite a bit a few times, but I don't really understand that move totally. Um yeah, that's a pretty wild pick to me to take Garrett Wilson at 19. So I'm about to be up, so let's see. Um, I was actually kind of hoping to get Jaden Reed. You got him, Alex, but I was hoping a little bit for that one, but that's fine because I'm gonna grab Downs if this guy doesn't take him. So he goes Mooney, or no, he went Ayuk. Um, I'll go Downs because he correlates with my Brian Thomas, and then I could get. I don't have a ton that would really correlate, so I'll probably just grab the player I like the most, which is either probably Hawkinson or Mooney. I like both of those guys quite a bit. Um, Maybe getting Mooney. I like both their schedules, but getting the fifth receiver probably feels a little better. I could go like Aaron Jones or Pacheco, but I feel pretty good with these top two already with Genti and Kamara. So I grabbed Mooney, just getting my fifth receiver. Now I feel really solid with this receiver room. And then I'll just kind of try to build out some correlation as the draft goes on. I do have downs with Brian Thomas, so that feels okay. But I would like to get a little bit more correlation in here. Or a lot more correlation, but I think I can do it kind of throughout the draft. I don't need to do it right now. So that feels pretty good. Let me go back over here. Oh, Boogie, I'm already waiting for the snipe, LOL. Yeah. Yeah, no, at least in this one I got the elite QB, so I shouldn't be scrambling too bad. I also have a lot of outs, so it shouldn't be too bad. Oh, and shout out to you, Boogie, for not sniping Dak Prescott. I appreciate that. I was wondering if you were about to take Dak Prescott at like 100 in that last draft, just out of spite, but you decided to build a more solid team instead of doing that. So I appreciate that move, brother. But yeah, I should be good. I have a lot of outs at QB, so hopefully I don't have to snipe you. But we'll see how the draft goes. See how it goes. Who are you building with? Um, you have a decent amount of options. I saw Mahomes went. I guess that's not too early. Did that guy have he have Worthy? No, he just took Mahomes unstacked. So I guess J Rock is handling the sniping of you in this draft. So I feel pretty happy with that. He's doing the work for me. Um, that's another thing in sprint too. I feel like stacking your guys is like I think it's important in almost any format other than like eliminator, but in sprint it's probably even more important since you have to hit like a multi-week like basically parlay where like a normal draft, like a BBM, right? If you take an unstacked Pat Mahomes, um it's still not a good pick in that format. You still want stacking, but you can kind of like ping pong weeks. Like Mahomes could get you out of like a playoff pod, like a week 15, and then you get your other guys who are stacked to actually like kind of carry you the weeks you need them. But in a sprint format, I feel like if you're unstacked with your QB, unless it's like a Justin Fields or something who runs a lot, but with a little bit more of like just a pure passer, um, I feel like if they're not stacked, you're just like not gonna have good odds in the sprint weeks because 9,300 teams are gonna advance to the final in this. So there's gonna be so many Mahomes teams or so many of any quarterback teams that you're really not gonna have much of a chance if you don't stack them. And stack them pretty well too. Like I would even be more willing to stack a team heavily in this format or like overstack a little than I would be in like a BBM or something like that for sure. Um, but yeah, I think that's the only other thing in the sprint is like obviously you want all the weeks to be correlated as much as you can, but I really think stacking this is probably the format where it matters the most that you try to stack up your high end talent on your team with their quarterbacks. Um, so let's see. Alex Faded got both the guys I was thinking about with my last two picks. Love to see that. I mean, Hawkinson falling to 88. That was just a good value though. Like I was thinking about taking him at 85, but I wanted to lean just towards a little more receiver help, but at 88, like he's a great value. I think Hawkinson goes a little bit too late in general. I think he's a little underrated just because last year he was coming off of the torn ACL. And then like you just look at him, he's always been like a huge reception guy, like just a target machine. So I feel like he's maybe just a little underrated because he was coming off that injury last year. So I'm about to be up. I could lean Mark Andrews here. Just gonna kind of like I was saying, like I really want to stack my guys out pretty well. I'll grab Andrews here, and then do I have anything that really goes with any of my teams I've already built? Not a ton. I already have Zay, so I don't want to like go crazy with the stacking. I could grab Shaheed. I already have some New Orleans, and he goes with T Mac. I like Keon, but I don't really think I have much that goes with him. So I'll probably just grab Shaheed here. Um, yeah, I'll just grab Shaheed. That feels pretty good. I could have maybe grabbed like a Tyrone Tracy. He does go with Genty, but I'm not super high on him. I feel pretty good with that Genty Kamara start. So I don't know. Rashad Bateman would have been okay too, but with already having Flowers and Mark Andrews, I don't want to go like super crazy overstacking more like rushing QB. Um so that feels pretty good there going Andrew Shaheed. Now I feel really solid with my receiver room with Brian Thomas, Tet McMillan, Zay Flowers, Josh Downs, Darnell Mooney, Rashid Shaheed. Um, and I still feel okay with just these two running backs right now. I probably will throw a little more volume at it, but I'll be able to stop now at either two QB or two tight end, maybe even just two of both. So that feels pretty good so far. Um, Al Boogie, everyone pretty much behaving. Like you're saying, no one really knows the meta of the sprint strategy. Um, yeah, no, I think that's fair. It's like a newer contest, so no one really knows the meta. I mean, I think just trying to stack, trying to get bringbacks, like it's basically like I guess how I'm viewing it is you should try to treat week 15, 16, and 17 how you always treat week 17. That would be my only real thought. But like as far as like how heavily you should stack a team, that's really hard for me to say. Just like, do you want like I would think you'd want multiple correlated pieces, but I think overstacking limits your ceiling at some point, right? So maybe getting like a receiver and a tight end is kind of ideal. It probably kind of depends on what team it is, but I think getting like a double stack probably feels the best to me. And then trying to get bringbacks on at least like one of your quarterbacks, if not two of them. I think that would be like what I'm kind of leaning into for strategy, but it's also kind of how the board falls to you, right? You don't want to reach on a guy way up just because, like, oh, well, he has a game stack, so I'm going to reach on a guy I don't like 15 picks ahead. Like, I don't think that's a good strategy at all. So, right, like, it's just kind of getting it where it fits. You never know how the lobby will fall to you. And even then, like not getting bringbacks and stuff, that can work out too if it just happens to be like that guy goes off, right? So I definitely agree. Like no one really knows. That's just kind of how I play it, but where I'm trying to get the bringbacks, trying to get the stacks, but I definitely agree. No one totally knows the strategy for it. Um, all right. So here, I probably want to get I'm definitely gonna get Trevor Lawrence, I'm thinking. Um Yeah, because I don't have a ton else for QBs I can really get. And I have Brian Thomas. That's my first round pick. So I'm definitely gonna get T Law here. And then I'll probably grab a running back. I'm not really in on Javante. So I'll probably just go for Tajay. Um I could go for Jaden Blue too. I don't know. I don't because like I like the upside of Jaden Blue, but he could really be like a zero. Maybe I'll kind of lean into like I was saying earlier, just like the upside with some of these young guys. I do have really good projectable volume with just Kamara and Genty. So maybe getting a guy that's an even bigger upside swing feels better on this team. Tajay is a good pick too, though. I do have some New Orleans, so I could have correlated a little more with him. But I think the big upside swing on Jaden Blue feels pretty good. So I like that. I don't mind that play at all. Um, yeah, that feels pretty good there. And then Trevor Lawrence, obviously, I have Brian Thomas, so I wanted to get a stack, like I was saying with my top guys. I'll probably try to grab even a third QB on this build. Maybe not. Maybe I will. I'll kind of see how the board falls to me. But I still have a couple quarterbacks that stack with some of my guys. So I might even look at a third QB just to give me more outs since that sprint format is a multi-week tournament format. I lean more towards the 3 QB builds in this. Um just because it gives you more outs in that multi-week sprint, right? Where like if Lamar has one down week in the sprint and I only have T-Law as a backup, it just might make me kind of thin where like getting a third QB, even if they're lower tier, it just gives me more outs, especially if I already invested capital in those offenses. And then 3 QB also does raise your advance rate a little. So, if you advance out of your pod, then you're automatically in the playoff in this format. So I lean a little bit heavier towards the 3 QB builds in general. But I certainly don't need to having Lamar Jackson. I can stop at 2 if I want. Um, Fantasy Ball Garage, Candyman, Mooney equals money. That's fair enough. I mean, he probably does equal money. Like he had a really good year last year. I think Penix is really talented. I think Mooney's just a great pick this year. The steam is getting a little bit to the point where he's turning into a little less of a great pick. But I still think right now where he goes, he's definitely a great pick. Like I really love getting Mooney. So that feels good. Green Bean, I guess, agrees. At Candyman, Mooney equals money is very good for my exposures. Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of Mooney too. Like, I just think where he goes, like, let's see, I got him at 85. Obviously, this is a sprint, so it's a little different. Um, I think where he goes, like, you look at any of the receivers that go after him, you're looking at Pittman, you're looking at Cooper Kupp, and then a bunch of like rookie guys who maybe have a lot of upside, but they're a lot more questionable. But getting Mooney here, he kind of feels like the end of a tier. If you like Pittman, I think you could argue he's in that tier. Cooper Kupp kind of feels like he's maybe just lost a step too much, where he's kind of a tier below these guys now. But yeah, I think Mooney or maybe Pittman is like the end of a really big tier. Like it's a big drop off to the next tier because then it's just like a lot of rookies, maybe some second year guys, but a lot of uncertainty, right? Like Jaden Higgins, Emeka Egbuka, Luther Burden, Trey Harris, Jack Bash, Keon Coleman. All those guys could be really big hits, but they could all be really big misses. Even Shaheed too. He's not like a second year guy. That's why I didn't include him originally. But all these guys could be massive hits, but they could also be massive misses, right? We haven't seen anything from most of them. And then from Keon, we've seen some signs of explosiveness, but like a pretty limited role overall. All right. So here, I think I'm gonna grab Tank Bigsby for sure. I could grab Bryce Young, like I was saying, like to get the third stack QB because I do have T Mac, I do have New Orleans pieces with them, but I think I'll actually hold off on that to get my stack tight end with Mark Andrews. Um, that feels better because then I have T Law double stacked. And I guess triple if you count Bigsby. Bigsby doesn't really catch passes, but it's part of an overall team bet on Jacksonville, right? Um, so now my running back room feels a little better. Obviously, it's kind of just like studs and scrubs, kind of. But Bigsby and Jaden Blue give me like pretty big upside if they take over their backfields. And these are both guys who could have big upside without an injury, right? With Blue and Bigsby, because you could say maybe they're not the favorite to lead their backfields, but they have a chance to without an injury. And then Kamara and Genty should be workhorses as long as they stay healthy. So I feel pretty good with that running back room. At QB, I have Lamar and Trevor Lawrence, which feels fine. Could add a third, but don't need to. At receiver, I got Brian Thomas, Ted McMillan, Zay Flowers, Josh Downs, Darnell Mooney, Rashid Shaheed. So that all feels pretty good at receiver. I feel pretty solid with a room like this. And then at tight end, I have Mark Andrews, Brenton Strange, which that also feels pretty solid. I'm pretty happy with that one. See, I think the team's coming together okay. I would like to have done a little bit more as far as like bringbacks go and everything. It didn't fall great to me. Like I would have been really happy if I could have got like Jaden Reed or Matthew Golden, but that is a little bit far for them to fall. it's a little bit harder to get that kind of stuff like on the turns. Or like Tucker Craft, he went at 129. So like I might have taken him on this turn instead of like Jaden Blue. I might have went like T-Law Craft as a bring back on my like Ravens, for example, I'm saying. It just didn't fall perfect for the bringbacks, but at least I got the teams that I picked like stacked out pretty well. So I feel decently good with that. On real time Thad Mooney. All right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Mooney's a good pick for sure. I think he's a good value. Nick Backlage, what the fuck? What the fuck's up, brother? Thanks for stopping by. Green Bean. Mooney clearly has a better QB and an offense as a whole than all wide receivers in his range. Well, then all wide receivers in his range. Well, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, because Penix only played 2.5 games or like 3 games, right? He definitely has a better QB and offense than either Indy guy. But like the Niners, they could be a really good offense. The Packers, I mean, Jordan Love was actually pretty good, like EPA wise and like advanced metrics. I get he didn't put up like gaudy stats, but he actually was pretty good last year. So like Niners, Packers, right around there, pretty good. And I mean for like obviously better than like Cooper Kupp, better than either Indy guy. So I definitely agree on those two. Better than Seattle, better than Indy. But the guys right behind them, like Houston, Tampa Bay, Chicago, maybe a little tough, but Caleb was a rookie, new OC, a lot of new pieces. The Chargers, obviously Buffalo with Keon. I think you could make an argument for any of these, like 5. But definitely better than Indy and Seattle, in my opinion. I think San Francisco is kind of debatable. Green Bay is also debatable. I mean, Penix looked really good, but you do have to remember we've only seen him for like 3 games. But don't get me wrong, I'm definitely bought in on Atlanta as a whole. I just would push back a little. Like I'm pretty bought in on San Francisco being a good offense and Green Bay probably being a pretty good offense as well. So I don't hate that take. Like if that's your take that the Falcons are the best offense out of all those, I don't think that's crazy at all to think. But I would say I'm maybe just a little bit off of that. Like I would lean San Francisco probably out of all those teams I named as an offense as a whole. I'll grab Pat Bryant as a bring back week 16 on my Jacksonville. That feels pretty good. And then I can stop with these 2 tight ends. I could get Hunter Henry as a week 16 bring back on my Baltimore. I could get Giddens as a bring back on my Jacksonville. I already have a Jaguars piece though, so I don't really need him. I'm just gonna lean Jarquez Hunter. That's just kind of more of a player take for me. He also does fit with my Atlanta. So Darnell Mooney plays the Rams week 17. Jarquez Hunter, he's a Ram. So that does give me like a mini stack, like some correlation, even though it's not like lighting up because I don't have the quarterback, but that does give me some correlation as well. So that feels pretty good there. I don't know. Like I could have went with like Giddens. I could have went with like Hunter Henry, but I feel pretty good getting Jarquez there. That feels fine to me. I needed a running back for sure. My running backs, I have 2 guys early, but it is a little bit light overall. So I feel good getting Pat Bryant for a little bit of correlation, and then Jarquez Hunter just as more of a player take, but he does correlate a little. So I'm decently happy with those 2 picks there. Reflect the Sun. Gino definitely has better weapons at LV and a better O-line with Chip as OC. I tend to lump them into that group also. Oh yeah, it was we were talking about the receivers right around there. So I guess because Besh. I guess I didn't even because I just looked over here. So yeah, I guess Besh too. I would say they're a comparable offense as well. I agree with that. And they should be really fast paced with Chip Kelly. So I don't hate that call. Definitely better weapons. Yeah, probably. I guess it depends compared to which team, like Atlanta. Atlanta and Oakland's pretty close, right? Because Drake London's better than any of Oakland's receivers, but obviously Oakland has Bowers, who's really the wide receiver one. Running back for running back's pretty close. That's actually a decent comparison. I think the Falcons did do some O-line improvement. That one I'm not quite as educated on though. So, but I think their O-line's actually rated pretty good. But I definitely think they're in the same group though. I think that's a good call for sure. Um, Green Bean, Mooney and Trey Harris should be atop that tier in my opinion over the indie guys and obviously over Cup. Um, Mooney and Trey Harris should be in that tier, in my opinion, over the indie guys and over Cup. Well, I think over Cup maybe, but I think like if you look at the indie guys, right? Like let's look at Downs last year. Like Downs went 72 yards, 803, 5 touchdowns, and that's with Anthony Richardson mostly, who can't complete a pass. He can complete like 40% passes. I think Daniel Jones being the QB is actually a pretty decent upgrade. Josh Downs also started the year injured. He had an ankle injury and he missed some time with that. And Mooney, I think he had just under 1,000, right? Is that yeah, so he had 992 and 5. So I think like it's pretty comparable. I think that Downs is maybe a little underrated because he is a pretty elite like separator route runner. I think Daniel Jones is a pretty good upgrade for him at QB. As crazy as that might sound to say Daniel Jones is an upgrade at QB, AR really has trouble completing passes, especially in that short range. Um, I think saying Mooney should go over those guys though is fair. I mean, when you look at where I took them, like Mooney and Downs, I took them back to back, and Mooney did go over Pittman and Cup. And I believe ADP also reflects that. Like Mooney's ADP 86, Cup's definitely in the 90s, 91. Pittman's definitely below. Yeah, Pittman's 94, and then Downs is 87. So Mooney actually does have a higher ADP than those guys. Him and Downs are like back to back. So I think that's actually a pretty good debate. I probably also slightly lean Mooney, but I think the argument can be made for either one. I would definitely mix them both in. Um, Trey Harris is a little tough. I'm a really big fan of Trey Harris, but there is a lot of competition. Like I know we don't think the big Q is talented at all. At least I don't. Dude can't even catch, right? But it's just a guy who will get in the way as far as routes go. So is Mike Williams. They're not that talented of players, but it's just more guys to take routes away. And the Chargers might be pretty run heavy with Najee and Hampton. They have a good old line. So I just worry with Trey Harris more volume concerns. Not as much the player talent, but the volume he might receive might hold him back a little bit. But I do like the Chargers offense. I like Trey Harris as a player. It's just his volume might be a little bit lower to start just with how the Chargers want to play ball and with their kind of more veteran pieces. All right. So with this pick, so I was thinking about grabbing Shuck. I have 2 Saints players. I have Kamara and Rashid Shaheed. So I'm gonna grab Shuck, and then I do have the Tet McMillan bring back on that too. So that feels good there. Tight end, I'm probably good with Mark Andrews, Brenton Strange. I probably want to go running back. Could go Neal, could go Lloyd. I don't have any Packers bringbacks. I don't really need a receiver. My receivers are pretty solid. I'll probably just go Marshawn Lloyd. That feels pretty good. Could get Keaton Mitchell as a stack, but Lloyd feels fine. Yeah, okay. So I got Lloyd. Uh, that feels pretty good. That just gives me a little Baltimore bring back. I know right now, like the injuries and stuff are a little concerning, but if he's the main backup in Green Bay, it could be pretty good. So I'll let the draft finish quick, and then I'll just go over the teams, and then I'll probably head off. I think BBG is live right now. So I'll go over my team, and then I'll go over Alex Faded, and then I'll go over Al Boogie. I'll show Jewish McCaffrey's quick, but I don't think he's in here at all. So I'll just show it quick if you guys want to see what he built, but I'm not really going to go over his. But I'll go over Al Boogie's and Alex Faded's in just a second when the draft ends. Green Bean, San Francisco is close, but I'm also not a believer in Pearsall and Purdy, but I get it. Okay, yeah. I mean, if you don't really believe in Purdy, that's fair. I just think their play calling is really good. I think they had a lot of injuries last year, Purdy's put up pretty good stat lines before. So I don't know. I think they could be in for a pretty good bounce back season. Their schedule is really easy. I think they could have a good bounce back season. Houston's also fine probably, but so many wide receivers are competing for touches behind Nico. Uh yeah, I guess so with Noel, Higgins, and Kirk. That's fair. They might be a little bit pass heavier, but I think Higgins will kind of wash the other guys as far as the other starting outside receiver. But if you're a pretty big believer in Noel or you think Kirk still has a lot of talent, I can see that. I think Higgins will have an easier path to being the other starting outside receiver just because Kirk and Noel kind of archetype more as like slot receivers. So I think Higgins might have an easy time getting on the field as like an outside guy. But I don't hate that call. There are a lot of mouths to feed there. Um, oh, Mooney ADP higher than I remembered, I guess. This is the sprint, so it might be a little lower in BBM, but he's been rising. That's what I was kind of saying earlier. Like he has been rising for sure. Um, Alex faded. I like our teams. Well done, fellas. Good luck. Hey, good luck to you too, bro. I'll look at your team in just a second. I just wanted to end in case it like kicks me out. If it doesn't, I'll do it like right on here, but sometimes it like kicks you out of the draft. Reflect the Sun. Only issue with San Francisco I see is Trent Williams is 36 and Purdy was 0-3 in the games he missed and wasn't good at all. Yeah, that's pretty fair. Their offense does lose a lot of efficiency without Trent Williams. I do think last year as a whole is kind of tough just because they had so many injuries at so many different positions. But I definitely agree if Trent Williams is not healthy, then that is a gigantic hit to their offense. 100% agree with that. I do think they had a lot of injuries, a lot of issues in the last season though. So maybe they're just a little bit better in general, but if he's not healthy, that's a giant issue. Totally agree. But tackles do play pretty old, so might not be the biggest concern, but he has had injuries, so I definitely see it. Green Bean, I think LAC has been searching for a deep threat. They've been all in on Mike and then QJ through the years. I expect them to do the same with Trey this season. I feels like it's Trey's job to lose to the vets in LAC for the wide receiver 2 job. I mean, maybe. He's a day 2 pick at receiver, obviously pretty early in the second round. But I mean, I don't know, like Jim Harbaugh's kind of an old school dude. He might not I don't know. He might give the vets playing time. Like Trey Harris might be the main guy, but if they're a more run heavy offense, it could be pretty limited with his archetype. Like he might be very, very boom bust, but I like Trey Harris. I'm overweight on him, but I do think there's maybe a little more risk than you're giving it credit for. I mean, they paid Mike Williams a good amount of money to come back. QJ they used a lot last year. I don't know. I mean, I like Trey Harris, but I think just with the offense as a whole too, they're probably gonna be pretty run heavy with Najee and Hampton. So it might be just lower on the opportunities, but that's fair. Maybe they have a better left tackle now. I don't know. Puni was a great pick at guard left here. Better backup left tackle. I'm that's the age Big Walter Jones retired. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Trent Williams definitely old and he has dealt with injuries, but I guess hopefully they prepared for that more. That's not something I would really know about, to be completely honest with you. Like the Niners, like backup, like linemen or whatever. The only backup lineman team I'm locked into is like the Lions. That's the team I'm the biggest fan of. But yeah, I mean, hopefully they kind of address that some, but hopefully he just stays healthy. It is tough when he's older, but just the hope is he stays healthy. He still plays at a very high level when healthy, so I don't know. I guess that's kind of the hope, but I do get that could be an extra risk. All right, so I'm gonna go over my team quick, and then Alex faded and Al Boogie, and then I'm gonna head out of here. All right, so this is a sprint draft, and then I end with a 3-6-7-2. I got Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, Tyler Shook. That feels pretty good at QB. I'm really happy getting a room like that. You can argue Shook isn't really necessary, but I just like having the extra stacking option because I had Kamara and Shaheed. I had the bring back week 15 with Tet. So I just like getting that third option. Maybe it helps me on Lamar's bye week even. Maybe, just if it helps me a week or two, it's kind of worth grabbing. And I already had a lot of Saints pieces, so making a bigger bet on that offense feels okay. At running back, I have Ashton Genty, Alvin Kamara, Jaden Blue, Tank Bigsby, Jarquez Hunter, Marshawn Lloyd. I feel pretty good with a running back room like this. Like it is a lot of contingent guys in the back, but Alvin Kamara and Genty should really be holding it down at the higher end. And then I have guys with good upside, I feel like. So I like building a running back room like this. Like I spent some early capital, got good guys I feel good about, should get a lot of touches early and all season long. And then a lot of just kind of upside swings, right? So that feels pretty good. At receiver, I got Brian Thomas, Ted McMillan, Zay Flowers, Josh Downs, Darnell Mooney, Rashid Shaheed, Pat Bryant. I feel good with a receiver room like this. I spent a good amount of capital early. Uh, I got some good stacks. I got Brian Thomas with T-Law, Zay Flowers with Lamar, Rashid Shaheed with Shook. And then I got some bringbacks like Tet week 15 with New Orleans, Downs week 17, Pat Bryant week 16. So I feel really solid with the receiver room overall. Tight end, I just got Andrews and Strange. I did get them both stacked with their QBs, but that's maybe a little light, but I feel okay. I picked Andrews in a decent range. So I feel pretty good with the tight end room like that. But yeah, I feel pretty happy with the team overall. I wish I could have got a little more correlation, like a Golden Jaden Reed or like a Tucker Craft or something to go with my Baltimore week 17 better. But I feel pretty good with that team overall. Pretty happy with how it came out. Definitely a viable team. Not like the best team ever, but it feels okay. Um Green Bean, I'll stop bothering you though, but thanks for the stream. Oh, you're not bothering me at all. I mean, I don't know. Part of the point of the stream is to talk ball, dude. Like I don't mind at all talking ball. I will say a little bit with like don't get me wrong. Like you talking about the O-line stuff, totally fine. Totally fine. Don't if like you can talk about the O-line stuff. I'm just saying I won't have much knowledge on that. But I am happy to talk about any like football takes you guys got, anything like that. Like I mean, I don't know. Don't ever feel bad about it. Like that's that's kind of why I stream is like I like talking ball with like people, right? If I didn't like doing that, I just wouldn't stream. I'd just be on my computer doing them like without streaming it. So don't ever feel bad about, especially if you're talking like football stuff, like don't ever feel bad about that. Like totally fine, totally fine. Uh Reflect the Sun. Speaking of the Lions, any insight on their center replacement? Sounds like Tate Ratledge, who has never played center before in college. I don't know. Yeah, they have Tate Ratledge. It's probably gonna be him. They got a guy in the 5th round. I'm gonna look him up because I don't want to butcher the name. Miles Frazier. He was a guard at LSU. He was actually like really good at LSU and he had some injury issues. But he has some upside to play center. It sounds like it'll probably be Tate Ratledge. I think Tate Ratledge did play some center in college. I think he played some center. Let me see. Okay, I guess he played mostly guard. Um Yeah, he played mostly guard. I guess he trained at center in college also, but he didn't play center. So he never played center at Georgia, but he got reps in practice. Okay. Cuz I know they said he had practiced at center before, but it's sounding like it'll probably be him, but that Miles Frazier guy they got from LSU, he has experience at center. So he's also in play to be the center. Um, obviously neither one of them are going to be Ragnow. Ragnow is an all-pro center, but I do hope that maybe one of them can kind of combine with the rest of the line to be usable. Like the rest of our line is still very good. We did lose Zeitler at guard also, but hopefully like either Frazier or Ratledge, whatever one doesn't go to center, is able to fill in that role. So I don't feel too scared about the line, but I do think early in the season, especially, it could be a little worrying while those guys are still trying to mesh. And obviously, none of them are going to really combine to be like Ragnow, right? Especially right away. But the rest of our line is still very good. So I don't feel too terrible about the line, but definitely will be kind of a hit. Um, Me too. I keep peppering you with questions. Thanks for the stream. Oh yeah. No, I mean you're good. Ask away any questions you want. Cool. Same here. Keep talking ball. Or same here talking ball. Yeah. Exactly. That's what it's all about. I mean, that's the whole reason of streaming. Whoa. Okay, Al Boogie. So I went over my team. I was pretty happy with it. Not the best, not the worst. I'll look at Al Boogie's and then I'll look at Alex's team. So Al Boogie went with a single QB build in the sprint. That is intriguing to me. I don't know if Al Boogie's still here. If you're here, Al Boogie, let me know. Let me know what the plan was there. You might have left. Maybe you fell asleep or something while you were drafting this. That's wild. So Drake May at QB, solo QB. Okay. Saquon Barkley, James Cook, Jordan Mason, Rico Dowdle, Dylan Sampson. Our running back room is fine. I like their running back room because you got, RB1, Saquon, James Cook, good value, Jordan Mason, RB3, and then just some upside shots. I like the RB room. At receiver, you got Rashee Rice, Travis Hunter, Jacoby Myers, Steph Diggs, Jaden Higgins, Rashad Bateman, Cedric Tillman, Adam Thielen, Keenan Allen. That feels pretty good overall. I think you got a lot, like you get two guys kind of early, and then you got a lot kind of in the mid range, tacked on some late volume too. So the receiver room feels good. I'd be pretty happy with that overall. And then at tight end, Trey McBride, Jake Ferguson, Kate Otten. I think that's obviously really strong. Maybe didn't even need Kate Otten with the elite guy, but it's a really strong tight end room. I like the receiver room overall. I like the running back room too. I just solo Drake May seems like a risk I wouldn't be willing to take. And then let's look at Alex's team. I wonder if Boogie got busy during the draft or something like that. 1 QB is shocking to me. It looks like Desmond Ridder was the last guy available. Maybe he just got absolutely cooked at QB. So Alex faded one with a 3.573, pretty classic build. So you got Jordan Love, Tua, Russell Wilson. I'm gonna assume there's some Giants on here. Neighbors. Okay, yeah. So you got Neighbors. Oh, and Wandale. Okay, so I kind of get doing that. You didn't need to. Like, I think Love and Tua is good enough as two, but throwing on Rush just for some like early season upside. Maybe he looks pretty good, holds on to the job. I think your QB room's actually fine because Love and Tua would be fine. It would just be a little bit thin. But with Russ, that's fine too. It gives you some early season upside. Maybe he starts longer than we think. That's pretty good at QB though. Running back, you got Henry, Chase Brown, RJ Harvey, Rashad White, Giddens. I feel like this is a really strong running back room. You got Henry and Harvey with your Green Bay, Chase Brown week 16 with Miami, Rashad White week 17 with Miami. Giddens good upside swing. Rashad White kind of mixes in. He has a lot of upside if Bucky gets hurt, but really strong running back room. Some good upside with Harvey and Giddens. You got the big dog, Chase Brown at a really good value. So I like the running back room. Receiver, you got Malik Neighbors, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle, Jaden Reed, Luther Burden, Xavier Legette, Wandale Robinson. I feel like this is a pretty good receiver room. Like you got Neighbors, obviously, like your top end guy, and then you threw capital just kind of like every other round, basically. And I think that builds out a pretty good receiver room. Like maybe you're taking on just a little bit more risk with like you have like Reed and Burden as your like 4 and 5, so they're a little bit more spiky. And then like Legette Wandale. Wandale's pretty consistent, but his upside might be a little bit lower. But so maybe you're taking a little bit more risk with these guys as you're like 4, 5, 6. But I think the receiver room overall feels pretty solid. Like I would feel happy with this one. You obviously got Reed stacked with Love, Waddle with Tua. You have Neighbors and Wandale with Russ. Terry goes with week 15 with your Giants. Burden week 16 with your Packers. And then at tight end, you have Hawkinson, Kraft, Jatavian. That feels very strong at tight end. Hawkinson goes with your Giants week 16. Tucker Kraft stacked. Yeah, I like the team overall. I think it's pretty strong, actually. Yeah, Russ, like, he's probably not going to last the whole year, but maybe it gives you early season, just like some spike weeks out of him. I mean, Giants offense might not be too terrible. They have a lot of weapons. So I don't hate that pick all stacked up. Um, but I think the team's pretty solid overall. I don't really think you have like a super weak position. I think it's pretty well balanced. Obviously, running back's actually kind of on the stronger side. Tight end's pretty strong too. And then receiver, I would say is like pretty good. Like it's just a little bit riskier, but it feels good overall. Yeah, I mean, I like this team quite a bit actually, and you have a lot of correlation, a lot of stacking. So I think you did really well with this one. I like the team a lot. Um, Need Russ to cook, yeah. Even if he doesn't, though, your QBs are pretty good. You have good upside even without him anyway. Alex Fade, great stream too. Liked and subscribed. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, and if anyone hasn't, you're still around, like and subscribe, please. But yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by, man. Um, yeah, and I'm gonna be streaming, a lot all summer. So yeah, if you guys are ever free, want to check it out, then I'm happy to chat with anyone. Always love seeing you guys in the chat, just talking ball and everything, drafting with you guys. Reflect the Sun, Rust to Neighbors will be interesting. Yeah, I mean, Russ might cook for a little bit. Like, I think eventually they'll want to see Dart unless they really outperform, but it might actually be pretty good. Like, he wasn't that terrible last year on the Steelers. He was just kind of like more of a game manager, but Russ and Neighbors, I think, will be fine. I don't think it'll be like horrible. Um, I haven't taken Russ, but Dart so far. Who you got, Hartman, Dart, or Russ? Oh, I got Dart, for sure. So these exposures are for all tournaments, so it's like 200 drafts. Let's see, Dart. So I don't have much of either. I have 3.3% of Dart. Russ, I might not have any. I don't have any Russ. Um, I do think though, like looking at this board, because I was wondering why Boogie didn't have a second QB even, but like you look like, oh, you took Russ over Dart. That is intriguing to me actually. Um, that's a little surprising to me actually. I would have taken Dart because I think you had Love and Tua. I'd rather like in general, I guess how I'm thinking about that is like Dart is a lot more upside. Russ is kind of like safe. Like Russ is more like an eliminator pick. Like I would take Russ in an eliminator, but I would take Dart in any other format because I want that late season spike upside. I don't really care about early season, especially when I already have two good QBs. Um, like I would only really take Russ in like eliminator because when you think about all these tournaments, they're so back weighted. I want the first round pick rookie who's probably starting at the end of the season, especially if that team underperforms at all, which like they might not, but their defense still isn't going to be like insane. They're going to have good pass rush, but they don't have very good like secondary, or even like that great of linebackers either. And then their offense as a whole should be pretty good with Neighbors and decent running backs, but they don't really have a lot of weapons outside of Neighbors in the pass catching game. Like Wandale's fine, Slayton's fine, but they're not really special. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think I would just lean Dart because he's more likely to be starting in the actual money weeks, right? Like week 15, 16, 17. And like on this team, for example, where you like, I just assumed Dart was gone when I saw Russ, to be completely honest. I assumed Dart was just already gone. Um, but like you have Love and Tua, and like Tua's big risk is the injury, right? But Tua gives really good upside when he's healthy. So like you don't need to really care that much about weeks like 1 through 6 for your third QB. Like you're good there. You want to worry about late season, like getting the hammer, right? So you want a guy like Dart, at least in my opinion, unless you think Russ is holding the job all year, which I personally would lean Dart, but I mean, if you believe in that, then that's fine to grab Russ. I don't hate the pick, but I would lean Dart for sure for the late season. Because those are the money weeks. That's when you win, right? Eliminator would be the only time I take Russ though. Yeah, hopefully that I mean, yeah, I mean that answered it. But at least how I feel on it. I don't if you think Russ will keep the job all year though, like fine, that's a fine pick. I would just lean Dart for the upside. Um, but anyways, I think that'll do it for me. I think BBG is live right now. Let me see. Reflect the Sun. Okay, it seems like Dart has more rushing TD potential too, if and when he gets in. Oh yeah, for sure. I think Russ is just kind of immobile now. Like, yeah, you just kind of look at his rushing yards the last few years. His rushing, like 2 years ago, he started the whole entire year in Denver. He went for 341 and 3. Dart was a pretty good rusher in college. So I agree. Like, I think Dart's rushing upside is quite a bit higher. Um, I think Russ is just kind of more of like a game manager at this point. He's fine, but he's just kind of a game manager. But yeah, anyways, yeah, thank you guys all for stopping out. I think BBG is live right now, so if any want to hop over to his stream, I will actually drop his stream link in the chat. So let me copy the link to that. All right. So there's the link to BBG's stream. Yeah, thank you guys all for stopping out. It's always a good time talking ball with you guys, drafting with you guys. And I was really happy to get BBG on. That was pretty fun to be able to draft a team with him. I watch BBG like all the time, so that was pretty fun, and always a good time talking ball with you guys, drafting with you guys. But I'll probably be back tomorrow. And I'll be drafting all summer. So thank you guys all for stopping out, talking. Hit the like, subscribe on your way out, and peace.